Hopefully it goes.
Yeah,
Hopefully
let's see how
on.
it goes.
All right, so we'll see. We'll see if anybody can see us now.
Can you see us? See me?
This is like
See me?
this is like we're broadcasting from a bunker in Gaza
Beirut.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in Gaza right now. We don't know how long it's going to last because YouTube is unstable.
Okay, it says we're on.
All right.
It says we're on. Yeah, it's not YouTube, it's StreamYard. StreamYard is having the problem.
Oh.
Suppose.
Well, you had said YouTube. That's the thing you sent us was a YouTube notification.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, StreamYard is saying that some of the YouTube feeds are getting cut off.
Oh.
And I'm seeing on Twitter people are saying like, "Hey, my feed just shut off." But then YouTube is saying that there was a problem where if you were watching videos, who knows? I don't know.
I mean, is it by votes? Do they vote who gets to go off? Because I have a feeling we'd be the first ones down.
It's like Gladiator.
I don't know.
Down. Kill him.
I don't know. We're here though.
All right, so welcome to however long this lasts.
Welcome, you guys.
Possibly temporary talking guitars and 80s metal live for now.
Yes. Yes,
there may be some stuttering and some delays.
If anything happens, though, in the chat right here, this show is also live on Facebook. So if this feed craps out, jump over to Johnny Beane TV on Facebook where Brian Sparks is.
Don't do it.
And
it's a
it's
trap.
It's the same show. and make sure to like the page while you're there. Thank you.
Waiting for Admiral Akbar to pop out. It's a trap.
It's a trap. Don't do it. It's a trap. Hi, buddy. Hi, buddy. Did you notice I didn't want to pay attention to you, so you thought you'd fuck everything up?
Wow.
Admiral Akbar probably doesn't trust anybody now.
No. It's May 18th, 2021, 8:14 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, we're getting some new names over there. Hey.
Well, thrash metal and fun riffs. I can't guarantee there'll be talk of both metal and or riffs. I mean, that's a lot.
That is.
I mean,
and
if you had a choice,
certainly not fun.
If you had a choice, would it be metal or riffs? Like, which would be your preference? Because the struggle is real.
Yeah. I think this is actually Black Salami is right. I think this is probably another excuse for Johnny to make it a pay service. If you subscribe, you could see the show. If not, maybe spotty, maybe iffy.
I'm sorry. We're breaking up.
My PayPal is. My Amazon list is.
Oh no, that stuff will come out.
Crystal clear.
Yeah,
that'll come out crystal clear.
Hi, Alice Martinez. Yeah, I'm in the dark because it's 100 fucking degrees in Arizona already.
Hey, Alice.
And I've got the air conditioning running at a beautiful, cool 75. And I'll turn a light on the next time I get up. I'm just too lazy to do it. I got to get up and feed the dogs anyway. I'm feeding the dogs.
A sweet and balmy 75.
Yeah, well, 75 is 30 degrees cooler than it is outside right now. We're already at that point in the year where mid-May and the triple digits are already scratching at your underside.
I feel my underside needing some scratching right now.
Oh, I'm sorry. Am I not paying attention to you?
Speaking of paying, you could change Johnny's lights.
Yeah. While we're still on YouTube.
Sandra Picorni, are you in Madison, Wisconsin? I would assume you're in Madison, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Wisconsin. Wisconsin. Me love you a long time.
My buddy runs WJJO up there. My buddy Randy is the ops manager of JJO, and Scott Osbourne started out working with me in Memphis almost 30 years ago. It's been a while. And I almost went to work for a WLUM in Milwaukee, and then there's some other station in Madison too. But as soon as I saw Madison, I was like, oh shit. Then she knows Oz, and she must know Randy and all those guys up there. Again, small world.
WFWB, friends with benefits on the air.
Hi, Lemmy.
Oh,
You're listening
man.
to radio station BBBJ.
Well, let's quickly say hello to these guys.
Hello, those
Hello.
guys.
There's our executive producers, the big bosses, Charles Green, Wayno, Joe Christian, Michael B., Thomas Santiago, Music Therapy Laz, and we pray for Roxy's return. Ben Tom, the Chad, James Gum, David Shea Gomery, Michael the Captain Smith, Randy Price, Stephen Franklin, Dan Halen, Crazy Cook 678, John Moronic, Jimmy Ray Hawkins, Mike Neese, and Steve Carmichael. What'd you say, Ace? Michael.
Channel members.
That's not Ace. That's Lemmy. Ace is quiet.
Oh, that's Lemmy?
That's Lemmy, right? Yeah, she needs her food. She's pissed. She's gonna have to wait because it's still cooking.
Let's also remember we're a podcast. We're on all the things that Johnny just flashed by to the point that you can't read anymore. Yeah, geez, are we getting all the sponsorship done immediately?
Yeah, because we don't know how long this thing is gonna last.
Okay, let's whip through this. So don't forget. I don't even
remember
recognize that one.
It was last week when you were getting ready to do. I think you were getting ready to do the show and sell guitar, and I got like some sort of a brownout. My internet shut down like literally right at the time. Right at the time, Johnny was plugging something about Desmond Child giving him something for his birthday, and then it was just like,
Oh, that
I was like-
bracelet. Yeah.
I was like, timing was perfect. I was like, I don't have to listen to that fucking story.
All right, let's
By the way,
mention all this.
Can you explain, Johnny, just for everybody, because the question has been going around both the chat and all of the texts that we go back and forth.
David
why
Sharon,
the
thank you, man.
Why the fuck did you live with Desmond Child?
Thank you, David Shea.
Because he was managing and producing and songwriting with the band that I was in.
Oh, okay.
So
Does
bass
he offer
player-
that personal service for every band he manages?
No, I'm one of the luckiest people in the world when it came to that. No, it was me and the bass player. We lived in his house.
Well, that's
Nice.
kind of neat.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it was not everybody can say that, you know.
How'd that work out for you?
Oh, I'm sitting right
Well,
here.
Well, that's all right. That's all right, Paul.
We're all-
That's all right, Paulie. Not everyone could say that, but Johnny says it enough for everybody.
I'm just saying, Johnny, I never lived in Desmond Child's house, and I'm sitting here on a Tuesday night too.
Mhm.
All right, let's make sure we get everyone in case the feed gets cut off. Who's our favorite popcorn brand, Johnny?
Oh, that's Colonel's.
As in Colonel's Gourmet Popping Corn,
Oh, great.
Colonel's Gourmet Popping Corn, and more.
Lemmy agrees.
Go to Colonel's Gourmet Popping Corn, Lenny's favorite, mine too, and should be your
Right.
favorite. Gourmet popcorn, chocolates,
crap.
candy, all sorts of what?
How do you spell popcorn?
Really?
POPCORN.
Wow.
Holy shit!
Well, that's why Desmond Child threw him out.
Yeah, he
What?
couldn't
It's
smell
tough.
child.
It's tough to write. No, it's tough to write songs when you can't write.
Go to Colonel's Gourmet Popping Corn, mention Johnny Beane or Jay Hannon, and get more product. They give you a bigger portion of all that good, crunchy deliciousness. Mention John Beal, you'll get one of those life-size posters for your door. Yeah, no. Okay, so let's see. What else? Swiss Picks, the greatest grip you can ever get on your guitar playing. Go to Swiss Picks, check out and improve the grip on your playing. Swiss Picks, the most comfortable pick out there, and super great grip, cool colors, cool flavors, all sorts of selection, and we love them. I use them. You guys use them. And look, Vinum Custom Pickups, maker of the Mancuda Custom. Look at that. Awesome.
Wow,
Among
I was-
other things, contact. Don't even say it, Johnny. I'll jam it right up your kazoo.
Wait, what?
I was gonna say, how's it sound?
Yeah. Well, let me see. Yeah, as soon as I get the right guitar, don't be a wise ass while I'm plugging one of our clients here. Vinum Custom Pickups. Go to Vinum Custom Pickups Tell Greg Vinum we sent you, and he will take good care of you. Vinum Custom Pickups, they can make anything you want. They can modify different pickup tones. If you want a DiMarzio Super Distortion, a little less muddy, Craig can wind one of those for you. He can do just about 80's, the Willy Wonka of pickups. Go to Vinum Pickups.
Wait, Willy Wonka was a pedophile.
Well, Craig is not.
Okay, well then don't connect the two.
Willy Wonka wasn't a pedophile?
Yes, he was.
Speaking of pedophile, our sponsor, David Crosby, with a voodoo stick right in the face. I like young boys. There you go.
Oh my gosh. David Shigemori, thank you.
Let me just get this out of the way. Hi, Ellie.
We're trying to fit all the show in 10 minutes before we go off the air.
Before
Let's
we
see
get
what
kicked
happens.
off, yeah.
Let's see. Let's see. Who else we got? Sponsored Tessie Switch, the greatest kill switch is on the market. Tessie Switch. Go to Tessie Switch and do this. Wow! 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 Wow!
Is that's a wah-wah pedal? That's not a kill switch.
No, I'm doing the kill. It's the kill. The guitar is coming back on. Wow! 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 There you go. And go to FU Tone if you want to hot rod your guitar, because FU Tone has all the stuff to hot rod your guitar. Your Super Strat, make it even more super. FUTone.com.
Let's just say this, and I say this with the greatest endearment possible. Adam is the shit.
Adam is the shit.
I don't know where that became a good phrase, like where people calling somebody shit was a term of endearment. That guy's the shit. Well, really? Because shit is not enjoyable. It smells and it's gross and we flush it.
Why do we tell people shit?
Yes. Why do we tell people they're the shit? I always love this one too. He's a good shit, so we don't break his balls too much. What?
My balls?
My balls? What? They're not going to break my balls.
My balls. My balls.
Wow. I actually have a guitar at FU Tone right now.
What are you big timing us?
I'm looking forward to getting it back.
I don't have a guitar at FU Tone right now.
I don't have anything at FU Tone right now, but I have guitars that have been FU toned, and damn, that's fun.
As do I.
Let's see. We got all our sponsors in, right?
Yeah, I think everything's done.
Oh wait,
good night,
everybody. I'm sorry. Hang on one second. Speaking of the shit, Bang Energy Drink. Nothing will flush your turd like Bang Energy Drink. Delicious Bang Energy Drink in all sorts of yummy 20-something odd flavors. Yum, yum, yum. Bang Energy Drink. Let it put a little lead in your pencil, if you know what I mean. There we go. Now we've hit all the sponsors. All right, so we got that in. Let's say hi to our beloved audience while we still can, just in case something happens. Let's say hi to our buddy Fruitcake Tony, Tony, congratulations, 400 subscribers on your channel. Rock on, brother. 500's next and beyond. Well done, man.
And thank you for the hospitality on Saturday night. As we hung out early, we did the early show before Saturday Night Live and spent 2 hours talking about Lemmy and Motorhead and what a great band and how underappreciated they are, and his hospitality and that of Sandra and Brendan B. Squared and Ben Tom and Charles Green and CK was a good time.
And if you guys want to watch that, just check out on YouTube. Show Me Your Pick number 47 is the episode Paulie was just in, featuring Motorhead. And this coming Saturday, I will be on episode 48 of Show Me Your Pick, which is Queensryche, and I will be bringing some very special Queensryche guitars. So don't miss that. Check that out on Fruitcake Tony's channel.
Yeah, and I'll be on with Tony on Sunday for Halenville.
Nice. Let's see. Let's say hi to R2, R3, Locking Nut, Brendan Buttcheeks, Thresh Metal and Fun Riffs, Girth Brooks, my girl Sandra Picorni.
Picorni.
Picorni. Picorni, we love you long time. She asked me to do it like Lemmy, so I thought I would do it that way.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah,
Kurt 5150, Charles Green Nightbot in the house, Janice la 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 la
La la la la
la
la.
la 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 la
La la la la la.
Janice la la la. Johnny, come on, join in.
La 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 la
La la la la la.
Johnny's like, let's see. What else we got? Browns fan, Cameron Brown. Hey, you want to talk about taking in the Brown? We got it. Richard Cheese, Mr. Hellstorm 74, Michael B in the house, Renus Pinkle, David Shea Garmery, Black Salami, 6 Chick 71. Who else we got? I'm scrolling. The original Power Mutants.
Swollen.
CK.
All my balls are swollen.
Congratulations to David Shea Garmery for joining the top of the world Johnny Bean package. Johnny gives you a reach around and a t-shirt. So there
and
you go.
You give Johnny money.
Thank you, man.
Lots of money.
You. And CK, it was great meeting you on Fruitcake Tony's channel Sunday.
Yeah, that was cool.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, great to see you, man.
Vimp69 in the house, Snoopy in the house, Thomas Santiago in the house. Thank you, David Scher. Marky FX in the house. Kevin Coachella in the house. What?
Black
What?
Salami.
I didn't even see his.
I know who
comment
Black
yet.
Salami is now because they slipped up. I was live in the Van Halen group a few days ago, and
Alice
I know who you are.
Martinez, Andrew Saviers. Let's see. Didn't we already know who Black Salami was? Was that who we talked about?
I don't know. Probably.
Johnny's memory. Hardwood Steaks in the house. Joe Hervey 84, my Jew homie. How are you, brother? Good to see you.
Hey.
David Scher, Stephen Franklin, and everyone else.
Everybody.
Mike Johnson, everyone else. Let's see. Tim Thomas in the house. How are you, man? What?
Yeah.
No, because your screen name would be Black Stash.
Oh my god.
Oh, I got you. I see what you're laughing at now. Sandra Picorni's on the case. Detective Picorni and Scooby-Doo.
More importantly, I don't care who Black Salami is. They're entertaining as fuck.
There you go.
And that's all that matters.
Yeah, we love our audience. We value our audience. We appreciate our audience.
I don't know that we value them. Well, let's not overstate it.
Johnny does. He sits there with a calculator, putting
it's
a
$4 at a time, $2 here.
Yeah,
except when
$4.99.
When False Flag comes in and drops a 50 spot on him. What the hell does False Flag do for a living? He's got that kind of money.
I think he's like the Prime Minister of Australia.
He drops like $50, like 3-4 times a month.
Well,
That's
he gives out hundreds for Halloween.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's promoting a record.
Is he?
That's
so he's spending somebody else's money.
Oh,
he doesn't. He should learn the 3 words that are about to bite him in the ass. Artist chargeback. The AC bill. For those of you who don't know what that is, that's all of those free dinners and free T-shirts and free guitars and free this and free that bands get when they go out on the road. There's a road guy right there writing it all down. I watched it happen. I forget who the band was. It was some boy band when I was bouncing the Hard Rock Cafe in Boston, and some boy band came in, and the manager was like, "You guys want some jackets?" And they went, "Sure." So they all got their beautiful Hard Rock Cafe leather jackets that are like $400 a pop. And they spent about $1,600 in about 30 seconds, and I just watched one of the road guys just go and close his little thing, put it in his pocket.
And welcome, Randy.
No such thing as a free lunch.
Welcome, Randy. Welcome, Trevor. Vistalite 1972. Welcome, and everyone else. Welcome. And by the way, who just came over from Facebook? Trevor just came over. Trevor, StreamYard is having problems with YouTube tonight. So if we go off on YouTube, jump to the Johnny Bean Facebook page and we'll be live. over there?
I want to answer a question from Metallica. Yes, Vernon can play a clean 30-second note run. He's a jazz player. He can play anything on earth. If you've ever listened to his solo stuff is fantastic. And even stuff like Solace of You from Living Color, and his clean tones are fantastic. He's got a great touch. The point of, and we were talking about this the other night about Cult of Personality being, according to Dane Zimmerman, it's the worst guitar solo he's ever heard. And I'm like, you don't get it. The frenetic nature of that solo was deliberate. It was supposed to be done that way because the song was supposed to be on the verge of exploding at any point. And I think that's and again, this is for thrash metal and fun riffs. This is metal. This is a metal thing. Vernon Reed is one of the greatest, and Living Color are one of the greatest unsung rock bands of our generation.
Definitely underappreciated and underrated.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yep.
And we talked about that solo before. It's intentionally all over the place, but it's very, very precise all over the place. If that makes sense.
Back, and he's back on the one. He's always back. I mean, that's the thing about Living Color is they are never sloppy. Mm-hmm. Everything they do is out of control. Like things like Time's Up, the song Time's Up, that song is out of control as far as the tempo of the song and everything like that. But you can tell when they come around to the one, bang, they lock right back in. I don't know that there's a band that's more disciplined. They are prog metal good. They are Meshuggah good. They are Dream Theater good. And they've got something a lot of those bands don't have, and that is funk and soul and feel. It's one thing to be able to play technically, Yngwie. It's another thing to be able to play technically and still have some feel, Paul Gilbert.
Let's see. And
oh wow, didn't expect that.
Oh, was that Paul Gilbert? Paul Gilbert's like fucking Beetlejuice. It's like you say his name once and suddenly he appears.
You know what though? In that picture, one of those guys looks like he doesn't want to be in the picture. Guess who it is? I was like, can I leave now?
Me?
Johnny's like holding him by his belt loop right now.
Well, how far down did he have to lean? Because there's no. If Paul Gilbert's like 9 feet tall.
Yeah,
you see, he's like bent over like half and half, like he's got his hands on his knees, like he's waiting for a line drive at shortstop.
Yeah,
Paul's sitting down in that photo, and Johnny's standing on his tiptoes.
I think I'm taller than Nuno.
That's possible. That's possible.
Is Nuno that short?
He's very small.
I did not realize. Okay.
Yes, he's a very small man. If you've ever picked up the Washburn N4, all those Nuno guitars, they're tiny. The bodies of them are cut specifically small.
Oh, that's interesting.
So you can see Nuno's chiseled abs.
Which is what I want to do. Why didn't you get a photo of his chiseled abs, Johnny?
I can't stop.
Next year.
Wow, I almost went full MC Hammer there.
Do. I can't touch it. Let's see. Just checking through the.
I gotta go check on the food for the dogs. I'll be right back.
All right. We'll bitch about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame without you, but I'm sure you'll join in momentarily anyway. Johnny, why don't you bring up this year's nominees going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Oh, gross.
I'll get. What the fuck was that? You? What is an alien gonna burst out of your chest? Holy hell!
Water. I'm drinking water. 2021. Is it?
2021 nominees, or you could just do a search. Not Iron Maiden, not Judas Priest, not Motorhead. Just do that search. I'm sure you'll get the same results.
Here it is.
Oh God, the Cock and Roll Hall of Fame. What a joke. What a fucking joke.
Enter studio. And yeah, leave a thumbs up if you're here. Okay, I'm in the studio. Is it this one?
I don't know. Does it not show a photo of Iron Maiden?
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's one of those websites. Dang it.
You could Google disappointment. You could That should be an easy list to bring up.
No, I have it. I'm on the actual website, but some websites are just they're impossible to navigate on a Mac.
Yeah, I'm with Sandra. Up the irons. There we go. So who do we got? Who do we got?
Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, that's them. Blige. Yeah, that's them.
Devo.
Yeah, who got in though? The 6 that got in.
Oh,
yeah.
John Biel.
Jay-Z. This is. I'm going to Google it.
Only 6 of those got in. You're saying?
Yes. Rock and Roll Hall of Disappointment.
Okay.
Okay, this year's inductees.
Oh my gosh.
This year's inductees. Foo Fighters, The Go-Go's, Jay-Z, Carole King, Todd Rundgren, and Tina Turner. Or who got in?
That's a good list.
It would be better if it included Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and Motorhead. Don't you think that would be? Oh, Rock and Roll Forever. Fuck you, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know, I'll buy your merch when you take David Crosby out.
I think it's a perfect list.
Oh, wow.
I think the list is exactly what it should be.
Buffy St. Marie.
I'm sorry.
Buffy St. Marie. My dad used to work with her years ago in the 70s. And I knew her because she was on Sesame Street. Buffy St. Marie. Buffy St. Marie, right there.
Was on Sesame Street? I don't recognize her from Sesame Street.
Yeah. Well, she probably wasn't on all the time. Probably just I
know Maria, Gordon, Bob, David, Oscar, Grover, Ernie Burt, Big Bird, Snuffleupagus. Mm-hmm. By the way, all those names I just mentioned have a better chance of getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame than Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and Motorhead. It seems because it's like they just don't care. They just won't admit who should really be in there. I mean, look, I'll give Carole King her due, and of course the Foo Fighters. Nothing against the Go-Go's. Look, I have nothing against anyone that did get in. I just, for frick's sake, I just want the right people in already. Can't we just 1 year, get the actual people who deserve to be in there the most in rock and roll, and that being Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, and Motorhead? Can't we just 1 year just push those 3 through? Can't they just do one thing? The CEO of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, this silver-haired douchebag. He basically said, well, yes, I understand Iron Maiden is a very influential and let's see, what was the quote? No doubt they're an impactful and influential band. Yes, they certainly are. We're not putting them in, but they certainly are eligible to be in. And just take 1 year and just shut all of us up. You got Kiss in finally. You got Metallica in finally. All these other bands that are due, just this 1 year, satisfy us. Get the damn 3 biggest bands that deserve to be in there and push them in before the rest of them are all dead. You know, Lemmy didn't get to see himself in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to this day. I mean, he's rolling in his grave. You suck. I mean, come on. You know. Uh-huh. There's a point. There's a point where just do it to shut us up. I mean, come on. You know, like I said, respect to all the people that got in there. But you know, look, at the end of the day, I mean, these are major influential bands in rock and roll. Come on, just you do this every year. You put a big dick in our ass and no lube. I mean, come on. And Mr. Hellstorm 74 is right. Lemmy didn't give a fuck about the Rock and Roll Hall. Neither did Kiss. Neither did. At this point, none of us do.
I don't think anybody does.
But
So why
it's
does
it's principle.
What does
It's
it matter?
principle.
Why does it matter complaining about it? Because nobody cares.
Because it's principle. It's just principle. It's just
I mean,
so
what's that?
stupid.
What's that going to do? Like next week, it's like, oh, they didn't get. Oh, so and so got in. Are you going to be like celebrating 2 weeks from now?
I'm sure. Look, I'm sure Rob Halford doesn't care. I'm sure Bruce Dickinson doesn't care. It's just the principle that us fans care. And yeah, David Shigamri, they gave an honor award to Randy Rhoads, but you know what? He should fucking be in there too. He should absolutely forget the little award. I mean, look, let me be real crystal clear on this. I'm very happy when any recognition goes to Randy Rhoads. I really am. And that's great. But go a step further. Put the guy in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, he's a guitarist. And he's one of the, most influential of all, I mean, to some people like little David Crosby here, it's a great honor. I'm very happy to be in it. Shut up. Just shut up before I pinch your grundle. No, but look, the fans care. We care.
Do they? In the chat.
I would like to. Go ahead.
In the chat, let us know. Does this stuff really matter to you? If a band gets in or not?
Just on principle, would you like to see Priest, Maiden, and Motorhead in the goddamn Rock and Roll Hall of Fame already? Just to get it out of the way because they so richly deserve it. Even though the bands don't care and we all call them a joke. Is it just something just sticking in your craw that you'd just like to see over with already? And Sandra Picorni's right. We have almost 100 people in the chat. Please hit that like button in the face. Beat it with your drumstick. Slap it with your dick. Wail your tits on it and hit it like a button playing Galaga in the arcade. Just hit the damn like button.
Yes. Yeah, and of course, I mean the artists, the bands, they care because I mean that's something that's on their list of achievements.
And yeah, Janice, there is a longevity requirement. You have to have from your first album 25 years. 25 years after your first album, you qualify.
Is that all?
Yeah.
Well, then some of these names have had records out for 45 years.
Yeah, and therein lies the point I'm making. And I know I sound like a broken record every goddamn year because we have to go through this every goddamn year. It's like, come on, man. Like Paul Stanley said, look, they had to eventually put us in. Just the pressure was ridiculous on them. They looked foolish. Yeah, and DV did Femsbuba. I can't pronounce your name. Didn't induct Rush until Neil Peart was fatally ill. Yeah, it's sad, but I mean, these jerk offs should just really get their shit together. And like I said, I know, I'm a broken record on it. You know the deal. It's just sticky in my craw, and I know they mean nothing. Album sales mean something. Fans mean something. Real awards mean something. They don't care. But you know what? Maybe it's just me.
I don't think anybody cares about awards for any of this stuff anymore.
Well, it's nice to have. It's nice to see recognition for people.
Yeah, it's nice to have for the artist. But I think the majority of again in the chat, do award shows really? Does it really matter? I mean, yeah, it could be a fun show to watch on a Sunday night.
It may not even matter, but it may not even matter. But it's nice to see some of these jerk offs acknowledging the people that deserve it,
like Jay-Z.
There you go. And nothing against Jay-Z, but you know what? Wait your turn. That's it. Yeah, CK. They didn't induct Deep Purple till John Lord was dead.
But
the list goes on and on.
John Biel, Did Jay-Z sell more records than Motorhead? I would say that he probably has.
If that's the case, the New Kids on the Block should be the biggest band in there. I mean, come on. Don't call it the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And do I watch them? No, Brendan, I don't watch them. But you know what? I just like to hear that someone gave recognition where it's due. That's all.
671, K71. I got your picture. Let's see.
You sent you a dick pic?
You got a awesome. Got a 5150 EVH.
Nice. Very cool.
Congratulations. Those are awesome guitars.
Very good. Very good guitar.
Very cool.
Nothing's cooler than Van Halen. I think we could all agree on that.
Mm-hmm. And they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Thank goodness.
Oh God, could you fucking imagine? Could you imagine if Eddie Van Halen passed away before he got in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Because I mean, look, Randy Rhoads passed away before he got in. But could you imagine Eddie? Can you imagine Eddie not being in there?
I don't know if it would have mattered to him.
It would matter to me. My ball sack would explode in frustration. Come on.
Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael. One of the big bosses in the house. I don't know. I'm just saying, like I said, I'm ranting again. I'm venting again. You know, maybe people don't care, and I know the bands don't care, but something about it in me gives a shit that I want to see some recognition for the bands that I consider legends in the metal world, in the rock and roll world, deserving more than a lot of people that have been inducted already. Sticks in my craw, really just annoys me. That's all. Kenneth, the famous Kentucky Ghostbuster fan. How are you, man? That's some name.
Mm-hmm. I like Ghostbusters.
Well, who are you going to call, Johnny?
I hope they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Is Ray Parker Jr. in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? He better be. Although he stole that song from Huey Lewis, so Huey Lewis better be in there.
I think he probably is, right?
He better be, and the News.
Who's credited with that song? Is it Ray Parker Jr.?
That's a Ray Parker Jr. song, but they say he stole it from Huey Lewis.
But is it proven, or is it actually Ray Parker?
Is it proven?
I'm gonna take my frustration out on David Crosby. I've had enough. Spotlight me, Johnny. I'm gonna take my Rock and Roll Hall of Fame out of Rock and Roll Hall of Famer David Crosby, who certainly doesn't deserve to be in there just because he's a dick. Let's see. What should we do? Should we give him? Let's see. I don't like to give anyone cancer. Castration, penis rot. What curse should we give him in the chat? I'm gonna let the audience decide. Leprosy, stagnation. Should I hurt his taint with this voodoo pin? What should I do with him? Rena says one in his heart. There's False Flag chiming in. Thank you, False Flag. Rainbow should be in. Oh, bankruptcy.
Thank you, False Flag.
Jesus Rapes Me wants bankruptcy. Michael B says ED. I'm sure he already has ED.
I can't get my soggy dick to work.
Let's see. A really bad hangnail. Nah, come on. Let's see. DVT. Leprosy. I like leprosy, man. Yeah, I'm going to go with Sandra and David Shea Garmory saying leprosy. We're going to go with one of those. Let's see. There you go. For the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There you go, David Crosby. Leprosy to you. Let's see. What else we got?
Oh my gosh.
Sandra says soggy dick. Oh, hashtag soggy dick. Well, that'll be trending on the internet all day.
Are you cooking something?
So why, when I say soggy dick, does that remind you of cooking?
No, because from here on my screen, it looks like there's smoke in your background.
Do you smell something? Do you smell something cooking in my house?
No. Does anybody else see that? It looks like
Smoke.
there's it looks like there's smoke like
I mean, that's-
blowing in.
That's
Like,
that's just the glow of the daylight blowing in. Nothing's.
Is it the camera?
There's nothing.
It really, yeah. Look above that Captain America shield.
Am I
It
on
looks like.
fire? Am I on fire? Let's see. Doesn't look like anything above the cap shield. My house is
I see
thankfully
it.
not on fire.
Frank sees it. Yeah.
Well,
There's
you're
nothing
flaming.
there. There's nothing there. Let's see what else we got. I got one more voodoo pin for David Crosby to celebrate someone else who does not belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame before Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, or Motorhead. Let's see. Ulcer, flatulence. Ooh, let's give him flatulence. I'm making the call on this one. Let's give David Crosby some flatulence, just because he's probably in a business meeting or something right now.
So my next re-recorded album will be. I don't know what's happening. I'm shitting myself.
Maybe he's tying his shoe right now.
That'd be awesome. He blows some kid across the street.
Excuse me as I just tie my shoe right here. Oh, sorry. I shit myself.
There you go. I love David Crosby Voodoo Doll. I love to hate him.
All right, which part of this am I supposed to chime in on?
I bitched about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame again.
All right.
Same as last 2 years. I bitched about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame again.
Did you bring up the fact that when people complain about Jay-Z going into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, that Jay-Z is the natural evolution of James Brown and all that stuff, and it gets all traced back? The rock and roll is a brand. It's not a style. And if James Brown and Bill Haley, yes, and Elvis are rock and roll, and so is U2 and Metallica and Black Sabbath, and so is Jay-Z, because they're all it's everything.
All rock and roll.
It's everything.
It's
Jay-Z is
all
not
music, but
Jay-Z
you know.
is not rap. Screamin' Jay Hawkins was rap then. If Jay-Z is rap, then Screamin' Jay Hawkins was rap, and Little Richard was rap, and James Brown was rap. I mean, Jesus. That's it. People get so caught up with labels. Music is music is music, and rock and roll is a brand.
Well, I want my rock and roll brand. Look,
I'm with you. Don't get me wrong. I think that they need to induct some rock and roll bands in there too, especially when Jay-Z comes in last in the fan voting and still gets in when bands, the other 15 people above him got votes and 12 of them didn't get in,
I just want 1 year where they could just take the shit and get it out of the way. Just freaking humor me and give me my Judas Priest, my Iron Maiden, my Motorhead, and I'll shut my mouth. I'll shut my mouth. Just give me those three.
Here's what we'll do here. I'll go through because I'm sure you already went through your list. Foo Fighters, not yet. Go-Go's, absolutely. Jay-Z, I don't agree with it, but he certainly can get in. Carole King's one of the greatest songwriters of all time.
Carole King deserves it.
Yeah, Todd Rundgren, no fucking way. He's a Rolling Stone darling. He's one of those guys that's super overrated. Fantastic producer, and that's why I would vote him in. But as a musician, don't care. And Tina Turner, the fact that she wasn't in already as a solo artist was bullshit.
I'll give her that.
Yeah.
I'll give her that.
So the only one that I really disagree with, I mean, I don't want Jay-Z. I get why he's in. But of the other bands that didn't get in, I mean, Jesus.
Isn't David Grohl already in?
I don't think the Foo Fighters are a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band. I'm sorry. They're a good band. They're a consistent band, but they are not a legendary band. They're not. There's nothing legendary about Foo Fighters.
Yeah,
great band.
Get in line.
They do great shows. They write cool songs, but music would be exactly where it is if Foo Fighters didn't exist. And I think that that's one of the criteria for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is, as we were talking about on Fruitcake Tony's show on Saturday, there's music, then there's your band, and your band either has to change music or create some sort of a pop culture wave or difference or something. Music has to be made different or improved, or the world has to be changed by your band's presence. And I don't believe Foo Fighters are that band. I love Dave Grohl. I think Foo Fighters are a great band. I don't believe Foo Fighters are one of the greatest bands of all time.
Grohl is in already. Grohl's in with Nirvana.
Yes.
It's just like a joke.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. They're a great band, but they're not. The music would be exactly where it is if it weren't for Foo Fighters. I mean, if they didn't exist, we would be less. There'd be less great music out there. But they didn't do anything to change music. They don't sell tens of millions of records. You know what I mean? They're just not. They're not a band. What did Foo Fighters contribute to music? How did they change music? How did Foo Fighters change music?
And there's your answer.
I mean, they're a great band. I'm not shitting on them. I just don't believe they're a legend. They're not a band. Like if you could only put one band on that list, who is it?
G.G. Allen.
No, I mean on that list in there, if you could only put one artist in, who is it?
I would choose Carole King.
The Go-Go's.
You would choose
Jay-Z.
the Go-Go's over Carole King?
Yes, and do you know why? Because the Go-Go's were the first all-female band that played their own instruments and wrote their own songs that had a #1 record. That changed music. Carole King's fantastic. She wrote fantastic songs for other people, and she had, her great Tapestry record that everybody loves. But the Go-Go's did something that's never been done before, and that makes them a Hall of Fame band.
I mean, I'll give them credit, but make no mistake, I don't think they're due before Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, or Motorhead.
But see, what Paul said about the Go-Go's, about the #1 record.
They did something.
That's part of it.
That they did something that is legendary, that's never been done before. And because they've done that, it's like being the home run king, or it's like being the stolen base king in sports. It's like being Eddie Van Halen. Eddie Van Halen changed guitar and changed music. The Go-Go's did too.
I'm not saying they don't deserve to be in. I'm just saying there should be an order.
What I'm saying is, of that list, of all of those artists that are on that list, I can make an argument against all of them except the Go-Go's. The Go-Go's did something nobody else has ever done on that list.
I'm not saying they don't deserve to be in. I just think they deserve to be in later. And Jay-Z, come on, man. Todd Rundgren, I don't even think he belongs in.
I agree. Todd Rundgren doesn't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And David Shea Gomery, I love that you say I'd put the Runaways in before the Go-Go's. That's great, but they didn't write their own songs. They didn't write their own songs.
I would say the Runaways deserve to be in there, though.
Yes, but the Runaways don't deserve it before you talk about there needs to be an order. There needs to be an order. Well, who is the first rock and roll band in the history of recorded music that played all their own instruments, all-girl rock and roll band that played all their own instruments and wrote their own music that had a #1 album? It's the Go-Go's, and that's where they go in.
Well, like I said, I just think there should be an order, and I don't think they're up yet.
You're right.
If Carole King is getting in right now and Tina Turner is getting in right now, I don't think the Go-Go's should be getting in this soon comparatively to those two. And certainly don't even get me started on Jay-Z.
You're right, the original Paramutant. By my standard, many previous bands and artists would be disqualified from the Hall of Fame, and that's the way it should be. The Hall of Fame should be the greatest of the greatest. And that means that we have to put some people in there that we may not agree with. I don't agree with Madonna in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but if there is a bigger female solo artist in the history of recorded music, it's either her or Whitney Houston, and they both are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they both deserve to be there.
I think Madonna deserves to be there.
Yes, but my point is, she's not rock and roll. She's dance. She didn't write her own music. She doesn't play her own instruments.
No, I get what you're saying.
She changed the world. Madonna did for girls in the 80s what Michael Jackson did. Madonna changed fashion. She changed an entire style. She created an entire group of fans.
And
mean,
again,
that's-
this is also during the early MTV days. You had someone like
Yes.
Madonna, and look, for that matter, the Go-Go's. But again, big influence on me. Every kid walking around me in middle school wearing an Iron Maiden denim jacket.
Sure, and Iron Maiden deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Iron Maiden is part of a movement that didn't exist. There was music before Iron Maiden, and then there was Iron Maiden, and there's been music after Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden was the first real prog metal band. They combined prog, they combined classical, and they combined metal together. And they changed their style too. If Paul Di'Anno had stayed the lead vocalist for Iron Maiden, they wouldn't be. Nice. They wouldn't be in the Rock and Roll. They wouldn't be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame if it was just Paul Di'Anno. But Bruce Dickinson brought an element to that band that they still to this day and never at any time in their career couldn't sell out stadiums worldwide.
And I made up my mind. I'm keeping my baby.
No, but you can't, David Shea Gomery, it's not about the Music Hall of Fame. Rock and roll is a brand, like Coke, like Xerox.
Yeah.
It's
not
a brand.
It's not just music. It's
a brand.
It's everything that has to do surrounding that band or that brand.
It's just disheartening. It's just disheartening for me.
I'm with you. I get it.
Senator Corny, Madonna.
But there are people that still aren't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that are bigger than bands that are. Why isn't Pat Benatar in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I didn't even know she wasn't. That's a crime too.
Exactly. In a world dominated dominated by men, Pat Benatar was a fucking rock star. If Linda Ronstadt goes in, Pat Benatar should go in. Pat Benatar was a bigger star than Linda Ronstadt.
Yeah. No, I agree. They should just do it in the fucking order of deserving rather than just
exactly.
The
idea that Guns N' Roses is in before Hanoi Rocks, who Guns N' Roses ripped off. And Hanoi Rocks doesn't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But my point is, I think
Guns does belong in.
Yes, but not yet.
Yeah. No,
you
can
before
wait
Judas Priest.
Yeah, and that's the stick in my craw is right there. Do it in order. Do it in the freaking order. You can't tell me was Jay-Z even born when Judas Priest started? I mean, come on. I don't know.
A good list there. David Shea Gomery brings up a good one. Scorpions should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Not because they sold more records than anybody else, not because they changed music in a way that music was before Scorpions, but the Scorpions are the biggest musical artist in German history. Scorpions have been around.
What about the Hoff?
They've been around for 50 years. The Hoff had his moment.
Is he in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
No.
Scorpions.
Scorpions have been out for over 50 years. Think about that. 50 years these guys have been rocking.
There are only two big German rock bands that anybody can mention.
Dora Pesch.
Nope. It's the two metal bands are Scorpions and Accept. By the way, Accept should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because they're pioneers in thrash metal. Thrash metal doesn't exist before Accept.
I don't even know. I don't even know if I agree with that as far as Accept goes.
Maybe they wouldn't accept the award.
If you go back and the balls to the wall, man.
Fast as a Shark is a thrash metal song, and that happened long before there was a Metallica, right around the same time as Motorhead.
Yeah, Rammstein. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Not as big as Scorpions.
No, Scorpions. Now, absolutely.
Over there?
Halface says Gorky Park should be in.
Gorky Park.
I think Scorpions are bigger here than they are over there.
Scorpions are bigger
Scorpions
worldwide.
Are huge worldwide.
Yes, they're bigger outside the United States than they are here. Yes, if you go back and listen to Fast as a Shark is a speed metal or a thrash metal song. Slayer should probably be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's the most evil band ever. All of those thrash bands, those thrash pioneer bands should be in there because Slayer took hardcore. They're almost hardcore. That's how fast Slayer plays. It's almost hardcore music.
No, Slayer's huge.
Yeah.
Slayer's huge.
Yep.
And yeah, Laguna Palms. I also like Pink Cream 69. I mean, Europe has such a good metal scene. Over in Finland, and I mean, geez, they're just killing it over there. They really are.
There are so many bands. You know, there's an argument to be made that Voivod, but not. You know, they're not big enough worldwide.
Nah,
they're just
I
a metal band. They're just a metal band. Yeah, they're just a metal band that a very good metal band like Foo Fighters. You know, good band, but not legendary band.
Hey, listen, KXM Rock, I love Winger. Absolutely love their music. But, you know, not before so many other legendary bands.
I don't
Winger's
see
a great
Winger
band. I don't see
getting
him in there.
No,
I don't see them ever getting in there.
Mr. Hellstorm.
And I love them, and I'm saying that.
Billy Idol absolutely belongs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's the Elvis of punk.
For sure.
He's the Elvis of punk. He took punk rock. He took what Sid Vicious
to the mainstream.
Yes, he took what Sid Vicious and Johnny Lydon and Joe Strummer and you know, the Clash and the Jam and all that, and he brought it to the masses. There was no bigger. Billy Idol made punk rock a household name. He was. There wasn't a bigger punk rocker. He's the punk rock Elvis.
Yeah, and Medellini, Winger caught flack from Beavis and Butthead. We've gone over that ad nauseum. Believe me, I absolutely love Winger. I feel bad what happened to him, but you know,
Beavis and Butthead will get in before Winger does.
Yeah, Fozzy will get in as soon as my ball sack gets bronzed.
Joe Satriani is not a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. KXM Rock.
No.
He's a great guitar player, but he's not a Rock and Roll Hall. He's just a great guitar player.
No, look, we all like a lot of bands on here. The three of us like a lot of bands on here that, you know, look, are personal favorites. That doesn't mean they belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I love Danger Danger. They don't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but I love Danger Danger. You know, same with Winger. Sandra wants to know show and tell guitar hints. Let's see. It's not
Just
a straw. It's not a yeah, I know. We better show
us
it
the back
in case we go off the
show us the back of it.
What I'll do, I'll say it's in this case. There you go.
Oh,
this case.
In this case.
In this case. There's your hint. It's in this case.
Awesome.
That's a G&G case.
Oh, you could see the sticker.
No, you can't.
But it is a G&G case.
Yeah, it's not a strawberry, not a blueberry, not a snozberry, not a dingleberry, but it is a berry. There you go. There's your clue. Yes. Halface says, "Is Whitesnake in?"
Nope.
That's an interesting question because I could see them eventually getting in.
They're that second tier. Whitesnake doesn't go in before Motley Crue. Whitesnake doesn't go in before Poison.
I don't know about that.
Whitesnake had one massive record.
It was a record that took over the year.
It was it came out the same year as Appetite for Destruction. So no, it didn't. It was big.
It was huge. Those videos alone are legendary. I mean, we were talking about them last week with Tony Kitane's passing.
Yep. Still not as big as other bands. There are other bands you're going.
There are a lot of other bands that should be in first. And again, back to my original list of three: Maiden, Priest, Motorhead. I just wish they would take 1 year and just shut us up. Just say, all right, fine, here you go.
This is a great example of it. Rage Against the Machine was on the ballot, on the preliminary ballot, didn't make it. I think Rage Against the Machine are a earth-shattering, groundbreaking band, but they're not ready for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They will. Not yet. They should, but not yet. They are
Jovi,
the best.
Absolutely. Bon Jovi, absolutely.
He's already in.
Is he?
Bon Jovi's, yeah, he's in.
Vistalite mentioned Bon Jovi. Okay.
Yeah. But Rage Against the Machine, phenomenal band, the best of the rap rock form genre. The best. Earth-shattering band. But not yet. Not yet. Yeah, there's an argument to be made that Social Distortion is deserving. There's an argument to be made for that.
I think there's so many others ahead of them.
But
so many others.
I bet Social Distortion gets recognized before so many other bands because the jackasses that are on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction committee are fans of a band like that. The Social Distortion is the kind of band that people who like Talking Heads would like. You know, there's an artsy element to them. There's a safe sort of elitist attitude towards Social Distortion. Great band. They write great songs. But there's just something about them that gets embraced.
I agree with both Fruitcake Tony and Miles Taylor. Uncle Ted Nugent definitely deserves to be in. And yeah, Miles Taylor, Gizmochi, absolutely. Speaking of Gizmochi, you like that? Speaking of Gizmochi, have you guys ordered yet the new Gizmochi CD? Have you ordered that yet?
I have not.
If you are in the chat, well, you're going to get a comp copy. I'm sure Jay right now is pulling his hair out. What? I got to give these guys copies? Yeah, because we plug the band every week. You should check out Gizmochi's new CD if you have not. Gizmerchi. Gizmerchi. Right now, Nightbot has a link to Gizmochi merch, and I would imagine, Johnny, the CD's in there, right? Also, they could order the CD on there.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course.
With the great Jay Hannon at the helm, ripping it up on guitar. Phenomenal CD.
Yeah, how are they going to do that without the bar, without the
What do you need the damn barcode for?
That's how they catalog it.
To get it in stores.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you could order it here. You guys in the chat can order it here, and that'll send the sales soaring. Because our 50,000+ audience will absolutely all order the new Gizmochi CD. So check out the link on there.
Jay's going to make me ship them all.
Johnny's going to be on the side of the road selling extras. Johnny's got every time you change my lights, you get a free Gizmochi CD.
I don't even know. I think the Stray Cats are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Mr. Hellstorm. I could be wrong, but I think they might be in.
I thought they got in, didn't they?
I think they certainly deserve to be in because
Johnny, put up the John BL signal.
They were the only band that did what they did.
There you
go. To a new generation. I mean, it's clearly 50s oriented rockabilly. It's clearly, the stuff that Dwayne Eddy did before them. But I don't know that there was a bigger rockabilly band than Stray Cats.
Mike Johnson makes a great point. If Whitesnake got in, could you imagine the lineup of band members? It would be like the whole audience would be band members. These are 34 guitarists.
See, that's the thing. The thing about Whitesnake is the guys that were in all of those videos in 1987 weren't on the album. That version of Whitesnake from 1987 forward benefited from the work of John Sykes, who put together the Slide It In and the self-titled record, which has now, I guess, been renamed 1987. But those two records were the work of John Sykes. Those were not the work of Adrian Vandenberg or Steve Vai or Vivian Campbell or Rudy Sarzo or Tommy Aldridge. So that would be a very Milli Vanilli thing. All of those guys, if they were to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, would be doing it under false pretenses because, going back to the Go-Go's argument, they didn't write those songs, and they certainly didn't play those songs originally on the record.
But they were the band in the videos and on the tours, and I mean they did all the heavy lifting, once the album was out.
Where's the song?
No, I hear you. And look, well, let's see. During the Vi album, Adrian didn't play, but didn't he do some of the writing?
He wrote some of the Slip of the Tongue record, which is nowhere near as big as the 87 record. Remember, Whitesnake had one album that was massive. One.
And two that were small but great.
They were great records, but they were not. They had that one album.
Sure. I mean, that's what, when you think of Whitesnake, you think of Tawny and the Jaguars and, all the hits off of that one album. Absolutely. But hey, look, it's like, when Kiss got in, who do we bring on stage? Vinny's on the sidelines like, come on, call my name.
Well, that's there was an interesting thing, you know, when we talked about. Remember when Maiden was originally on the ballot, and everybody freaked out that Clive Burr and Paul Di'Anno weren't included as being potential nominees, and then the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame said, "Oh, okay, we'll put them in too if they get in." They knew they knew damn right well at that point that they weren't going to be in.
Yeah, they didn't want to print up extra flyers. They didn't want to have to go back to the printers. Fine, we'll add those two guys.
Mm-hmm. No, Sykes wrote on the 87 record, but he re-recorded the guitar parts for "Slide It In" that made the record successful on this side of the ocean. The record was originally recorded by Mickey Moody and Mel Galley, and that mix of the album, which by the way is on the expanded version of "Slide It In," that mix of the album is way more raw. But it wasn't until David Geffen's people brought in John Sykes to re-record the record that it became a hit in this country.
And Sean, Sykes didn't write on the 89 record. That was the Vi Vandenberg one. Yeah. I think you meant the 87.
Yep, you're right, Mark. Bernie Marsden did do the original "Here I Go Again" and "Fool for Your Loving." And the interesting part about that is Bernie would go on, and I think he was in Desperado with Dee Snider, which is a tough record to find if you can.
Desperado.
Bernie Marsden, another one of those guys, a lot like Gary Moore, who doesn't get the credit he deserves as being a contributor. And remember, all those guys that wrote all of Ozzy's records, you know, I mean, Phil Susan did stuff. You know, Geezer Butler wrote all the lyrics for Black Sabbath. Ozzy gets a lot of credit for a lot of stuff he didn't do.
Of course, he's the frontman, and that happens all the time. That happens all the time.
Bob Daisley, you know, I mean, those guys are fantastic.
I mean, when you're the frontman of the band, everyone assumes, you know, you're the guy. And a lot of times, it's not the case.
Right.
You know, I mean, you know, who was writing for Guns N' Roses more?
No, Stephen Franklin. Extreme is not a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band.
No.
Great band. Love the band. One of my favorite bands of all time. They're not the greatest of the greatest.
Another good example. They, you know, what did they achieve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? You know, we love them. And Johnny, I believe, has a photo of one of them. I can't recall, but I thought I saw it once.
Well, since you mentioned it.
Oh,
yeah.
There it is.
Yeah,
there it is.
Oh, yeah. They look
there
familiar.
It is. Yeah, leave a thumbs up for Johnny's photo. Give a thumbs up.
Some guitar nerds would give anything to get that selfie.
You know, Randy Price, it's an interesting argument between Foreigner and Bad Company. I don't know that either of them deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but because there are lesser bands than them in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I would say yes. But
Foreigner's not in there?
No.
Of course they're not. They deserve it. So, you know, why would they be in there?
I mean, one of the good things about Foreigner, I mean, let's face it.
Jesus.
I don't know that many bands have the kind of careers that Foreigner and Bad Company had. I mean, hit after hit after hit, record after record after record. The consistency with which Foreigner and Bad Company, certainly better than Foo Fighters.
Oh, God, yeah.
That's my point.
Oh, that was my point too. There's an order. There's a pecking order.
Yeah, I mean, there's it's weird because I don't consider Foreigner or Bad Company groundbreaking bands, but longevity, consistency, and they were there and created the era of arena rock that, you know, other bands benefited from.
Journey and
right.
I mean, look, you don't have to be world changing to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Sometimes you could just get a hell of a lot of hits, you know, and you stay in the game that long, you'll eventually get there.
Yeah, I think that there's something to be said for longevity. I think there's something to be said for consistency.
Which brings us back to the Scorpions.
Right. I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that. it's funny because I don't consider as much, and I love both Foreigner and Bad Company. I think they're perfect rock bands. I think they are the bands that introduced the idea of the power ballad to the hair bands.
Foreigner,
Foreigner,
certainly.
Foreigner is almost corporate rock. Foreigner is hard rock that your parents would let you listen to. If there is a more prime example of mainstream hard rock out there than Foreigner, it can't be done. In fact, Foreigner is what Van Halen with Sammy Hagar became.
I
Template.
love Tube Supia.
That template was there.
You should post that in my Van Halen group and see what happens.
I'm this close to tapping out of that Van Halen group. I'm fucking done.
Torches and pitchforks at the door.
Just done with it. Just done with it. But that's what Van Halen became. Don't get me wrong. The music was fantastic and stellar, and the playing was fantastic and stellar. But it was the template. It was hard rock that wasn't offensive, and ballads that were mass appeal. And that's what Foreigner did. Foreigner laid down the groundwork for what Van Halen became with Sammy Hagar. It's all, circular.
I mean, you could say certain aspects of it, but I mean, Hagar was out, early on. Hagar himself alone deserved to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Absolutely not. Sammy Hagar, prior to meeting Eddie Van Halen, was a fucking theater act. He was an afterthought. He was not a fucking Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. Sammy Hagar was not even Billy Squire.
No, I disagree.
Sammy Hagar
disagree.
Sammy Hagar had a moment right before in fact, joining Van Halen killed Sammy Hagar's solo career because he was right on the precipice of it. Standing Hampton, 3-Lock Box, VOA, he was just getting to that point where he was, but he was never even an arena headliner. He was always second or third on the bill. He was a festival act. He was Ted Nugent.
I think Ted Nugent deserves to be in there as well.
I would say Ted Nugent more than Sammy Hagar.
I would say that too.
Yeah.
Well, with the Van Halen aspect of it, if Sammy never joined Van Halen, I'd agree with you.
Yes,
but
that's my point.
As it sits right now,
yes,
Sammy deserves more.
Absolutely, because he was in Van Halen.
Sure. And yes. I agree with that. And I do agree with the idea that if he didn't, that Ted would definitely be in first. I give you that.
Ted Nugent's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because Ted Nugent's an asshole.
Yeah, well,
because if Steve Miller's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Ted Nugent should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Peter Frampton should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Those guys were the biggest guitar players of the 70s. Biggest solo guitar players of the 70s were Steve Miller, Ted Nugent, and Peter Frampton.
Paramutant brings up Montrose. I think that Sammy would have gotten in solo, but not Ronnie Montrose.
No way would he have gotten in solo. No, Sammy Hagar. No way Sammy Hagar was a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer without Eddie Van Halen. No fucking way. No way, no how.
I think he's one of those old schoolers, similar to Ted, but not as big as Ted.
Nope. And by the way, I say that as somebody who I like Sammy's solo career, but his first 5 records were stiffs. They did nothing, and then he started to get into a groove with 3-Lock Box. Well, Standing Hampton is a masterpiece, but Standing Hampton, 3-Lock Box, VOA. He was now on his way to becoming Billy Squire, who had massive hits. And there was, see, if Sammy Hagar was a solo artist is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Billy Squire should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Billy Squire headlined arenas.
It's hard because mentally I'm trying to imagine where Sammy would have gone if he didn't wind up in Van Halen. I think he would have continued to get big. Because when they announced that he was joining Halen, I said, well, there's a big enough name. There's a great player, great singer. I was excited. I was up for it.
He would have continued to get big, I think, but once
maybe
grunge and Nirvana and all that happened,
or
Sammy kept going because he was in Van Halen at that point.
Or he becomes Billy Squire, or he becomes Aldo Nova. a guy who was there for a minute and then disappears. Sammy writes shitty songs. He writes shitty, cheesy lyrics. You know why?
I like
Why I say that? What?
I like cheese.
I like
No,
cheese too.
But here's why. Here's why I say it. After Sammy Hagar left Van Halen, he went back to being a theater artist. Sammy Hagar cannot sell out a hockey arena. Couldn't do it before he met Van Halen. Couldn't do it after he left Van Halen.
But again,
he was an opening act before Van Halen, and he went back to being an opening act, a very rich opening act, but he went back to being an opening act after he left Van Halen. Sammy Hagar on his own is a failure.
We can't definitely say that. I mean, I wouldn't call
Sure we can.
No, because I don't know what he would have continued to move on to.
Well, here's the deal. He left Van Halen, or was thrown out, depending on who you talk to, and what did he do?
But that's coming down from Van Halen. I mean,
Bullshit.
that's gonna affect everyone. He's got momentum going up, you know, to the point where VOA and I mean, he just was doing good solo stuff. I think he would have continued on an upward trajectory.
Then why didn't he when he left Van Halen? Why isn't Sammy Hagar a headlining act today?
Because now, after so many years, you're conditioned to being a part of one of the biggest bands in the world.
Bullshit.
I think it changes your ability. I do.
Sting was able to do it after the Police.
And how many others were not? I think a lot of others were not.
Bill Collins was able to do it after Genesis. Lionel Richie was able to do it after the Commodores. If you are that talented, you can make it to happen. And he had millions of people already conditioned to buy his records. If they were any good, the only good record Sammy Hagar has released since leaving Van Halen was Marching to Mars. That's it. The rest of them are dog shit. Fact.
Lemmy and Ace were just like, here's a question. I'm just curious. How much did Sammy do writing wise from 5150 on? How much of that writing was his?
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's why I'm asking.
And by the way,
yeah.
In Van Halen?
What amount of writing did Sammy do for those albums? From 5150 and OU812?
He did all the lyrics.
Yeah, he did the lyrics, but the point is,
and arranging.
But did he write the music?
Did he write any of it, Johnny?
Right.
No, I mean, he didn't. I mean, the songs always started with Eddie. With riffs. But Sammy, I would say Sammy helped arrange a lot of those songs.
I'm just wondering, would Sammy have come out with variations of some of the songs that wound up on Van Halen albums, and would they have been hits at that time? Would they have grown into hits?
The answer is clear when you hear I Never Said Goodbye, which, that solo record, which was just Sammy Hagar, but they renamed it. That record didn't do anything. Marching to Mars had, 2 songs on it that did well. Red Voodoo did nothing. 1013 did nothing. Not For Sale did nothing. Sammy Hagar has released 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 solo records, and 3 of them are notable.
That shows nothing.
3 of them are notable.
No, look, I see your point. I'm just saying, I think Sammy could have gone on to being continually bigger. He could have. I mean, we'll never know.
We do know, because he was huge in Van Halen, and he left Van Halen and flamed out.
I could say the same thing about Metallica, though.
How so?
After the Black Album, you could say Load. What else after that? Are you real happy with that? I mean, Bon Jovi, consistently came up with a little bit here and a little bit there, but he had some doggy stuff comparative to, Jersey and Slippery. I mean, a lot of bands hit their point. Whitesnake too. I mean, although that's unfair because the lineup kept changing, but a lot of bands you could look at and say, okay, they had their hits, and then the next 10 albums just kind of didn't match those peaks. By far. And Metallica, I think, is a good example.
No, it's not. Metallica has 1 stiff record. 1. One. Saint Anger is the only record that failed from Metallica. Only one.
I think people on Metallica will just buy anything. I don't think they were good albums per se.
Yeah, but that's not what the measure we're talking about here. Did people buy it? Did they embrace it?
I mean, look, I bought all of Hagar's albums. I don't think they were great, but I bought them.
I mean, Jesus, Load in America, 5 million copies. Reload
and Load, I give it to. Load, I give it to.
3 million for Reload. Even Saint Anger sold 2 million records.
I think just out of habit. I don't think you can ask people what are your favorite Metallica albums, and a lot of them will say after the Black Album, nothing.
That's not what we're talking about, though. We're talking about those albums were massive. Load and Reload were massive records. The only record that Metallica put out that wasn't critically acclaimed and embraced universally by the audience was Saint Anger, and even that still sold 2 million copies.
I mean, you could look at Guns N' Roses and say Spaghetti Incident sold a ton of copies. So did Chinese Democracy. They were terrible albums.
No, they were not. Chinese Democracy was terrible. Chinese Democracy was awful.
I thought it was horrible.
It was awful.
Spaghetti. I wasn't happy with the Spaghetti Incident. I love Guns N' Roses.
The Spaghetti Incident for Guns N' Roses was something to keep their name in the public eye. And if Guns N' Roses hadn't reunited, they'd be a footnote. They would have been one of those bands but there was no bigger band than Guns N' Roses from 1987 to 1992.
No, I agree with that.
They were the biggest fucking band on the planet. And you look at those records, Appetite for Destruction is the greatest debut hard rock album. It's the greatest debut rock album of all time.
Agree with that too.
And then you got the 2 Illusion records, which are fucking massive. We all agree that if they had taken some of the fluff off of Illusion 1 and 2 and made one record, it would be equal to Appetite. I think everybody agrees with that. So now they've got...
If they did it right.
Yeah. But sandwiched in between there was that fucking fake EP, Lies, which also was massive. Patience is still their fucking biggest hit on top 40 radio. Ridiculous.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So you get into that situation where, okay, the Spaghetti Incident, you could see they were starting to flame out. You know what I mean? The band was clearly falling apart. The only piece of shit record Guns N' Roses put out was Chinese Democracy. Sammy Hagar can't say that. Sammy Hagar, the majority of his catalog is garbage. The majority of it.
But how much of Slash's stuff sold after Guns N' Roses? How much Snake Pit, Snake Pit, Snippety, Velvet Revolver?
We're not making the same argument for that. I'm not saying Slash goes into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo artist, because he doesn't.
Right, I agree.
And that's the same argument I'm trying to make with Sammy Hagar. Sammy Hagar is not a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer on his own. If he had never met Eddie Van Halen, Sammy Hagar would be sitting right along Ted Nugent, right alongside Billy Squire, right alongside Steve Miller before somebody put Steve Miller in, which was nice. But he would be right there next to Peter Frampton and a bunch of other guys.
And Trevor Burnson, just to fill you in what you missed, we had a raffle for today's show and tell guitar.
Gave it away.
Corny got that.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
So that'll be great. And we also gave away $2,500 in the form of a stadium tour seat. So you missed that. But other than that, we've just been shooting the shit. But welcome back. Leave a thumbs up if you haven't already, because it's free.
Yes. I think Sammy will get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by himself at some point.
No. Ozzy Osbourne's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by himself.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Paul on that.
Robert Plant's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame by himself.
At this point, Sammy's in because he was in Van Halen. All my argument is saying is I think that Sammy could have been in on his own as a solo artist if he didn't join Van Halen, because I thought he would have kept going with some good product at that time. That's all. It's a possibility we won't know. I think we won't know because, again, during prime time of the metal years, he was with Van Halen. So there you go.
Okay, he is in with Van Halen. Okay.
Yeah.
Who? Sammy? Of course he is.
Could you imagine?
Of course he is. He and Mikey were the only two that fucking showed up for the induction. It was embarrassing.
I remember watching that. I didn't remember if he was in with them as well.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I know, and by the way, I wholeheartedly agree. Sammy Hagar deserves to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of Van Halen. Absolutely, unequivocally, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
That's a given. I mean,
not as a solo artist.
There's another example of, you know, a band that, you know, you can't deny that half their success was Sammy.
Yeah.
You know? Now, of course, meanwhile, behind the velvet ropes, there's Gary Sharon. I swear I was in the band. You gotta let me in.
Only member of Van Halen that has to buy a ticket to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Poor Gary Sharon.
He never had a chance.
Never had a shot.
Who was his guitar player?
Gary's Peter Hunt.
Do you have a photo with Peter, by the way, Johnny?
No, that band that he was in, wasn't there?
Oh, it was Johnny Beane.
But here's a great example. Let's just say, for shits and giggles, Nuno will never get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame unless Extreme gets in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Which I don't see.
No, they're not going to. But my point is, Nuno Betancourt is one of the most phenomenal guitar players to ever pick up a guitar, and he'll never be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo artist.
Here's a question. Here's a question. We agree that that Joe Satriani will not get in.
Nope.
Do you think Steve Vai will?
Nope.
You don't think so?
Nope.
As a member of Whitesnake, if Whitesnake gets in.
Maybe as a member of Whitesnake. He should be as a member of Frank Zappa's band.
That's a good point.
Oh, is Zappa in there?
Yes.
If Frank Zappa was not in there, my head would explode. Thank you, False Flag.
False Flag.
Duran.
Absolutely. Duran they're in, and I think they're in, and they're absolutely a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band.
John Bale, are they in there? They better be, because they're really my favorite band of all time.
I think they are.
They should be. They have to be by now. I mean, I say they have to be, but here we are having this argument. No, Alcatraz will never be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
No, Steve Vai will never get into the Steve Vai will never get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know why? Because it took Jeff Beck forever to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And Jeff Beck is not as big a guitar player as Steve Vai, but he's certainly considered more influential and certainly considered more acceptable to the people that make that decision.
Metallica, I don't see DLR band getting in as much as I love them. They're another example of an 80s band that I love. I don't see them getting in on their own. David Lee Roth's band?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Sandra Picorni, I think Men at Work are a Rock and Roll Hall of Fame band. I think they're phenomenal. I think Men at Work was a fucking great band. Just like Duran Duran. They are a band that created that new wave, pop new wave sound that was influential and absolutely a cornerstone of the MTV.
But people called Men at Work the poor man's Police.
Yeah,
and there's an argument to be made. There's an argument to be made there.
I see Duran Duran. I don't see Men at Work.
I do. I see both of them.
Well, I hope you're on the voting committee and Motorhead.
Maybe someday.
Could you imagine Paul on the voting committee?
I'd be a great voter.
That'd be really. Well, I think you would bring logic into the field.
I have several friends who are voters. It sucks.
Yeah, well, you should unfriend them right now.
Oh no, because they voted for the right people. They voted for rock artists, but I would have voted for Carole King too. I would have voted for Carole King over Iron Maiden because she wrote big fucking songs for so many people. She was a massive songwriter.
You know, when you asked me who out of those six was the one I thought most deserving, Carole King was my answer. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't if you look at the list, look at the list of songs that she's part of.
But I also think it's late for her. I think it's really late for her. She should have been in
20 years ago.
But there we go. I would love to just comb over the list of who's in and who's not and just pull people's awards. Yes, sorry. Not you. Not you.
Tube Supio, absolutely Men at Work over Steve Vai. Absolutely. Men at Work are bigger than Steve Vai.
It's an apple to an orange. It's an apple to an orange.
It's just not the same. Men at Work,
as far as
for a period of time,
Men at Work is way bigger than Steve Vai.
For a period of time, Men at Work were one of the biggest bands on earth.
I mean, I'm obviously thinking as a guitar player, you know, and, you know, people that he's been with from Zappa, from Roth, from Whitesnake. I mean, somewhere along the way, he's got to get in.
You have to look at all of this as just a casual music listener.
Right.
No, and make no mistake. If we're talking as a solo artist, I agree. Vai won't get in there, but he's got to get in there somewhere with all that he's played with. I can't not see. I don't see Alcatraz, but I do see Whitesnake eventually getting in. I see Zappa should be in there. You know,
and again, somebody late to the discussion, probably Dan of New Jersey. Carole King was pop. You know what? So was Smokey Robinson. So was Brenda Lee.
Carole King's Carole King's a legend. I mean, you know, she's literally a legend. So much music came out of that woman. It's unbelievable. So,
yeah, here's the thing, Halface. Men at Work album After Cargo. Those two albums were two of the biggest albums of their day. They were massive records.
Mm-hmm.
They were one of the biggest bands on the fucking planet for their period of time.
They were definitely big on MTV.
Sure.
Good point.
Yes.
Helen fanatic too.
The guy sitting in the tree playing the flute. You know, which they say was taken from something else too.
Jethro Tull.
That part that they play, that's like some other song or something.
They stole it from Jethro Tull, who stole it from Pan.
Yeah.
Interesting, Christopher Soa. If you're from Detroit, you're going to get in. Not necessarily. Not necessarily, but
I agree
but
with
Detroit,
that.
but Detroit is certainly a fertile ground.
Well, you actually do have a better chance of getting in because that's where the place is located.
No, it's not.
Isn't it?
It's in Cleveland.
Oh. Well, okay, if you're from Cleveland,
the other Detroit.
So what, you want to buy a house next to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame so you could get in? Look, you guys should put me in. I mean, I'm just across the street.
You know, that's
so easy.
That's an interesting thing. Jeff T asked the question: how many people looked for a Vegemite sandwich? That's all you need to know. That was a pop culture phenomenon. That was a pop culture phenomenon. Everybody was like, "What's Vegemite?"
You know what?
Like that became a thing. They did from Vegemite what Monty Python did for Spam.
I'm actually curious now because I didn't think about this for a second. They were Aussies. What other popular Aussie bands or solo artists were there?
Well, you got Jimmy Barnes, In Excess, AC/DC.
In Excess, I remember.
Yeah, AC/DC. Guys that won't make the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but are fantastic Aussie bands. The Angels, Baby Animals, Rose Tattoo.
Okay.
Is Ozzy?
Heaven.
No. Ozzy's from England.
Ozzy Osbourne?
Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy. Right.
Again, Dan of New Jersey, we talked about this a little earlier. Rock and roll is a brand. It's got nothing to do with the musical form. It's a brand. Like Coke is now the universally recognized brand for cola. When you walk into a restaurant, you say, I'll have a Coke. Even if they don't serve Coke, you say, I'll have a Coke. When you say you're going to go copy something, I'm going to go Xerox this. It's become a thing that it supersedes the form of music that we were talking about.
I say, give me a tab. And they say, if I want a tab, I got to buy something. Well, they give me a Pepsi free.
And you bring in your little yellow guitar with the metal pick. Thank you, False Flag. What's really funny is False Flag's amounts of money are diminishing every time he puts a little more in. He's like, oh, I got to give Beane more. What do I got? 35, 36. Okay, another dollar.
He's going through all the different colors. That's a color we've never seen before because of the dollar. Yeah.
Ooh. Silverchair was pretty big for a while. You know, they're not going to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but that's a big Australian
by far.
Yeah.
By the time they'll be in silver chairs.
Well, I mean, they're just poor man's Pearl Jam. Good songs though.
Is that true, Jeannie says? And where are you?
Jeannie says. Jeannie heard that we were promoting the new Gizmachi album. False flag, if you give Johnny any more money today, I'm going to strangle you. Johnny is making a car payment, and Paulie and I are sharing a can of SpaghettiOs we found behind the dumpster that we sleep in.
But I pay for this. So.
No, we all pay.
We all pay. The audience pays for this.
Keenan, hey, good to see you.
Thank you, Keenan.
Good to see you, man. Great talking to you too, man.
Yeah, Medellini Raven wore football helmets. They're in. That's true.
Nobody else did that.
They are groundbreaking. Absolutely. Guar should be in soon. Gigi Allen.
Ooh.
And for his use of excrement, Gigi Allen in the 2022 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Halface, you're right. Midnight Oil, fantastic band.
They have
Not
a
my
hard
style.
piece of dew sitting there.
Not my thing, but
Trophy.
It's a
fantastic band.
bronze turd, Gigi Allen. Thank you, False Flag.
Thank you, man.
Johnny can't even keep up on his calculator how much you've given him tonight.
I think it's this button.
I think my car is being towed because I haven't made payments. Johnny's sitting there shopping for an Onyx swimming pool. Honey, do you want the ivory columns, or should we go with Onyx to match the pool? False flag, yeah, he gave another like $700 in the last 5 minutes.
Thank you. Yeah, all that goes towards keeping the show on the air.
Which we might not have today.
Which
depending
supposedly
on
we were going to get
StreamYard.
kicked off today because of YouTube, but apparently we're still
Well,
on.
we're still good. Thankfully. Hey, Bozique, welcome.
Bozique.
AI Gaming in the house, Halen Fanatic in the house. A lot of people just came in. And right as they came in, I know they took a second to leave a thumbs up on the video.
Where are we at? 60.
Yeah, we should be over 100. Because it doesn't get any better. So if you were waiting for the show to get better quality, it's not. It's not. So just,
It's over.
look at this face. How could you not give a thumbs up for that face? Ooh, Johnny's making a lot of money tonight. There you go. Thank you, Blue Runner. On the other hand, we could do without that face.
I didn't like anybody.
I don't even like myself.
But he's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
He certainly is. Crosby,
Yeah, and
Stills,
then-
Nash, and Young belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. As much as I hate them.
As much as I hate him too.
They're legendary. But Neil Young has to be part of it. Without Neil Young, Crosby, Stills, and Nash, I don't care.
Just because David Crosby's a dildo doesn't mean he doesn't deserve to be in there. But
He's made some phenomenal music. He's an asshole as a human being.
yeah, there
but
you go.
He's made some legendary music. Now, here's a great example of that. David Crosby is in a couple times, right? But as a solo artist, nope. That's the Sammy Hagar effect right there. If a guy that was as big as he was several different times throughout his career doesn't make it in as a solo artist, Sammy Hagar couldn't make it.
I was in Mad Nudo.
I worked for Michael Jackson. Let's see. There it is. There we go. Keeping them on their toes. Let's see. Let's shift gears a little bit. We mentioned earlier, someone mentioned Sharon Osbourne, and Ozzy Osbourne just went on record recently announcing that he has been working on a new album during this pandemic, and already he has what they consider 13 to 14 really, really strong songs out of all the ones they wrote. And they wrote probably about 30 of them. And they chose 13 to 14.
I heard some audio of Ozzy speaking, and he sounds awful.
He's got Parkinson's. He's got Parkinson's.
He's weak. He's not really pushing a lot of air. behind his voice, and he's having a hard time forming words because his central nervous system is shutting down.
One of those songs is specifically about his relationship with Sharon, and I wonder who pushed that. The same person probably that's pushing him into the booth.
I think that I don't want to say it because last time I said it, 2 weeks later, the person I said it about was gone. So
no.
Yeah,
I'm
not
even
going to say it.
Not even gonna tempt fate. Not even gonna tempt fate.
Remember the last time I said that, next thing you know, the guy was gone. And that's
Don't mention my name.
Oh no, Johnny Beane, I told you we can do the show with somebody else.
Yeah, no, we're good.
Yeah.
And if you want to send money to Johnny Beane, no, but seriously, jokes aside, the thing about Ozzy, and this is what I am happy to hear.
By the way, I'm going to start. Just want to cut you off right there for 1 second. The fact that Ozzy Osbourne is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is a great example of why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is bullshit.
Is he not on with Sabbath?
He's in with Sabbath, but as a
Okay.
solo artist, he's bigger as a solo artist than he was in Sabbath. Ozzy Osbourne is the biggest single hard rock artist of all time. He's the Elvis of heavy metal. There is nobody, no singular artist. He's bigger than Alice Cooper. He's bigger than Marilyn Manson. He's bigger than you name any single artist, rock and roll artist. Ozzy Osbourne is bigger. Ozzy is bigger than Black Sabbath, and he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And again,
That's
that also leads into what I was saying earlier about Randy Rhoads, which is a crime that he's just getting an award. Not that I'm against him getting any prestige out of those scumbags, but
that's bullshit too.
That's
a toke thing.
No, absolutely, especially while he's with us. And again, not tempting fate here. Ozzy should absolutely be a solo artist in the Rock and Roll Hall of
absolutely,
Fame.
there's no doubt.
Yeah,
Ozzy is bigger. Ozzy is bigger as a solo artist than Paul McCartney was.
Are you counting Wings also? I guess
yes.
I guess
Ozzy
so.
is big.
Yeah,
Ozzy is bigger than Wings.
Yeah,
Ozzy's
I guess
bigger,
so.
He's a bigger solo artist than Bruce Springsteen. He's a massive solo artist.
I don't know if he's bigger than Bruce Springsteen. I'll agree with you on McCartney as a solo artist.
Jumpio.
I am curious. I am curious as far as Ozzy's sales versus Bruce Springsteen's, because I don't know, man. Born in the USA is just like a legendary album.
It's a
so
massive record.
Box set,
But the same situation that I have with Sammy Hagar. A lot of those early records, Nebraska, great records, by the way. Born to Run, great records. Not as big as Ozzy's catalog. With the exception of Down to Earth, every one of Ozzy's records was a motherfucker.
I mean, Ozzy was in the right time, you know. I mean, Ozzy, you know, when he left Sabbath, I mean, he was ripe for the 80s, you know. So I mean, I have to give it to him.
And he made it through the 90s too. I mean, between
early 90s.
Osmosis was a big record at 95.
Was it? What was the hit off of that one?
Perry Mason.
I mean, I think we were still tailing on there, but I mean, I love the song. I love the song. You know, I love Ozzy, obviously. But let's put it this way: one way or the other. Right now, he has 13 to 14 big songs, strong songs.
Four massive songs on that record. Perry Mason, See You on the Other Side, I Just Want You. Well, three massive songs.
Well, Perry Mason was the big one.
See You on the Other Side is a massive song, and I Just Want You was also a massive song. Not as big as Perry Mason, but those were all big fucking songs.
I don't think they were big songs.
Sure,
those two
they were. Sure,
I mean, I know you and I liked them.
Yeah, no, See You on the Other Side was a big song.
I don't know. I didn't see it as a hit. I mean, the bottom line is, at that point, everything, whether it be good, bad, or what, was being crushed by grunge.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, it was, and that's the thing though. That song, even in the era of grunge, was a hit.
What is this, Mr. Hellstorm 74? FedEx lost a couple of Joe Bonamesa's guitars again? Really? And hey, Mike Morris.
Mhm.
Well-
Yeah, he was tweeting. He was tagging them in tweets.
Jesus Christ.
Did you just buy 2 guitars from him?
Yeah, I know, right? Joe Bonamesa. What, Mancuda? A couple of Les Pauls? All right. I'll FedEx them.
That's exactly why Caleb Rappaport made me drive all the way to goddamn California.
I should have gone with Caleb. I didn't realize that'd even be free that Saturday. I had some stuff, but like I got it done already by Friday. But I should next time you guys get together, I'll pull with him. I'll hide in his trunk.
Bozique, Springsteen sold 70 million in the U.S. Because he's way more mass appeal than Ozzy. But Ozzy's a bigger artist. Ozzy created. I mean, he's the guy that created the touring heavy metal festival for the United States. He took the Monsters of Rock idea that was going on in Europe. When Van Halen failed at it in the United States, he did it. He and Sharon Osbourne created the touring festival and made it a success. Ozfest put fucking Lollapalooza out of the game. Ozfest killed the Vans Warped Tour and made it an afterthought. Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne created the biggest summer rock festival in music history for over 20 years. That alone puts him in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He's fucking legendary.
Well, look, he absolutely is a legend. He absolutely deserves it. I do think Springsteen is a bigger artist, though. I think he's got to stand by that.
He's got 2 bigger records.
I know who I like better.
Right.
But, you know,
again, you're talking about mass appeal too. I mean, the limited.
Sure.
But did Bruce Springsteen go and sit at the president's the correspondence dinner? Because Ozzy did. Ozzy got a fucking standing ovation from George Bush. How fucked up is that? George Bush called out Ozzy from the fucking dais at the correspondence dinner at the White House, and he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm just saying.
George Bush is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
I'm just saying.
They fuck everything else up. I mean.
I'm saying Ozzy's pretty fucking big.
Oh no. And Bozique, I know what Joe Bonamesa has. I mean, he's the creme de la creme of Gibsons. I know these aren't brand new guitars. I know we're talking like 59 bursts probably or something like that.
He's got 59 bursts.
He's got tons of them.
Joe Bonamassa, the interesting thing about him is he started off as obviously a collector and then became a player. He's the nerdiest fucking guy on the face of the earth. You wouldn't know, obviously, by looking at him that he's as good as he is. But the band that he did with Jason Bonham and what's his name, Glenn Hughes, Black Country Communion, fantastic band, 4 great records.
I mean, look, I see him at NAMM all the time, and he sets up at a guitar show nearby. False Flag, look at you go.
Thank you, False Flag.
Still doing it.
Johnny's wife is out shopping right now. Johnny's like, increase the credit card limit. We're good. No, I think False Flag is like totally distracting me. It's like standing on a stage as a stripper and someone's coming in with Australian money guns, just shooting the bills at Johnny doing the titty dance. Yeah. No, look, Ozzy obviously belongs in the Hall of Fame.
But that is all you need to know to talk about the legitimacy of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
For that matter, though, Bruce Springsteen also belongs there. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, he's already there. He's been there forever.
No, there you go. So
he was the first guy they let in.
He's got the keys.
Oh no, Nelson Rodriguez still put Clapton in. I think he's in as a bunch of different artists. I mean, obviously he's in as Cream. He's been in. I don't even know if Blind Faith is in, but he's probably going to be in for that. He'll be in as part of Delaney and Bonnie. Eric Clapton, in my mind, is the most overrated guitar player in rock history. But this is another great example of him being a critical darling. The critical darlings always go into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Guys like Jeff Beck, guys like Eric Clapton, guys like people like Blondie, people like the Talking Heads, people like Trent Reznor. There's a group of people that are in the Cool Kids Club, that get to go into because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is just an elitist bullshit club it's like going to the fucking Lions Club or being part of the Friars Club. You have to meet their criteria. It's all bullshit. I love the fact that bands like the Sex Pistols told them to fuck off, and that Iron Maiden couldn't give a shit less. Beautiful.
Most of the rock bands don't give a shit. It's the fans that give a shit.
Right.
It's the fans.
But rock and roll is not supposed to be accepted by the mainstream. It's not supposed to be institutional.
But as fans, we feel we want to see some recognizability for our heroes.
Sure.
We want that. We want that. Call us greedy. The artists don't care. Kiss could wipe their ass with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but the fans, we've been demanding it forever.
Well, that's what it is everybody wants to be part of a club and they want to have their opinion validated.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not comfortable having somebody tell you your favorite band sucks, and trust me, as a Kiss fan, I heard it a lot. All through the 70s when they were the band that was on the cover of every magazine every month, when 2020 was doing features on them, when they were on Don Kirshner's rock concert in Solid Gold, and they were fucking everywhere, and everyone had a Kiss lunchbox, and everybody, and all I heard from those in the know, people who listen to Little Feat and King Crimson and all these fucking art rock bands, Kiss sucks. Okay.
That's
still love
every,
them. I still love them. I don't give a shit.
You know what? I'll tell you something. As I am right now, as fucked up as I am right now, with all the guitars I have, who do you think I get requests for the most from people emailing me or saying, bring them on the show again? Or whose guitar do people want to see the most out of everyone I have, out of all the 80s metal bands and all? Who do you think's guitar gets the most requests?
George Lynch.
Johnny, what do you think?
Oh man, I would say
Take a second. Think hard. Let the smoke burn.
It's going to be George Lynch or Cece Deville.
All right, that's your guess. George or Cece, that's your guess. I'm watching the chat. Chat's guessing Ace Frehley, George Lynch, Ace Frehley, Cece or Lynch, Kiss, Randy Rhoads, Cece.
Do you have it? You don't have any Ace Frehley guitars, do you?
Cece, Ace, Cece, Lynch. So it looks like the chat is guessing between a three-way between Ace Frehley, Cece Deville, and George Lynch. So I do not have any of Ace's guitars.
Right,
if I had something recognizable, I would want one. You know, if I could get like one of his Les Pauls that I knew, you know, I recognized from a pinup or something, or, you know, just one of those group shots that you saw in the 70s of his Les Pauls.
He did sell a lot of those guitars back
when
he was out of money.
I had a chance to buy one of them when I lived in Manhattan in like 1990, 91, something like that. A place called It's Only Rock and Roll had one of his Smoking Sunbursts on their ceiling, signed by him, the whole 9 yards, you know, with the compartment burns and the whole 9 yards. And it wasn't for sale, but when they closed, I went up there and I was like looking to, you know, because they said they were selling everything in the store. So I didn't get up there in time. I don't know where that guitar is now, but they had one of those at the time. So I would have loved to have owned that one. Lynch, obviously, I own like 7 of his really well-known guitars, but it's not Lynch. And the point I'm bringing up, it's not Lynch because he's a well-respected guitarist. The biggest requested guitars I get for people to see photographs of or come visit or bring one over to my house or bring it on the show again, Cece Deville, who also gets the biggest freaking raw deal is the best way I could put it in metal, because constantly you see on chat boards, oh, Cece Deville, what a pussy, he wore makeup. But you know what? He influenced so many guys to pick up a guitar, and they had so many hits, and people saw them so many times in concert. Even the people that say, oh, he can't play, like Bozique, or, you know, oh, he's a poser. The guy can actually play, and he writes some tasty fucking very catchy riffs and writes some songs that everyone's still hearing today. But the fact is, as much criticism as he gets publicly, those same people want to say quietly, you know, I really like this stuff. I mean, I know he can't really play, but I really like this stuff. And, you know, maybe one song, or I'd love to see his guitars, or, oh my God, man, I remember my first concert was Poison. Big time influence.
They have the same issue that Kiss has, and that is somebody actually asked it in the chat. It was Metal Inla. And that is, it was a circus show. Does that degrade them? Yes or no? Yeah, it does. It overshadows the live. It's still the greatest live show in rock.
If you're a guitar player looking for technical prowess over entertainment, then you should be like watching Joe Satriani with blinders on. But if you're looking to be entertained, you're not going to find a better show than Kiss. You're not going to find a better show than Alice Cooper or Cece with Poison.
And go back and listen to Rock and Roll Over, or go back and listen to Love Gun, or go back and listen to Destroyer, and you will hear much better songs than you thought the first time around. The thing about Kiss, and it's the same thing I did with Led Zeppelin as a kid. Led Zeppelin was thrown in my face constantly as a kid about how great they were when I was 9 years old, 10 years old, listening to Kiss,
them and Pink Floyd.
Yeah,
constantly.
listening to Motorhead, believe it or not, in 1980, 81, 82. And I got a lot of shit for it. And then when I turned like 18, 19, I sat down with Led Zeppelin's catalog in a production room in a studio, and I just listened to it on my own terms, without the hype, without any of the bullshit. And I realized how many really good fucking songs that band has written. They're fun to listen to. They are not particularly intricate, and yet they're very memorable. The riffs are great. Cold Gin is a great riff. The guitar solo in Let Me Go Rock and Roll is a great guitar solo, which, by the way, if you go and listen to the guitar solo in Let Me Go Rock and Roll from Kiss, you will hear the template for every Cece Deville guitar solo. Ace begat Cece. Ace was one of those guys that was sold a lot of Les Pauls and turned a lot of people on to playing guitar, and made a lot of people realize you don't have to be a great guitar player to be a great guitar player.
No, and there goes right back to my arguments with CC, and I'll fight you tooth and nail, Bozique. You say you don't like the guitar shows. Again, you're more of a heavier guy. You're more of a thrash guy, and that's cool. I like thrash too. But the fact is, Poison for the hair metal crowd is a damn good show. And someone, Mike Johnson brought it up. CC said it best. We had tons of hits and didn't have any co-writers. And not just for that, but Warrant's Cherry Pie, CC wrote that solo, and a couple of other people he ghost wrote stuff.
He also played the solo on Sam Kinnison's cover of Wild Thing, which is a smoking fucking solo. Yeah, it's a ripping solo.
The guy knows how to write music that is catchy, and whether you respect him as a technical player, which, by the way, he actually knows a lot of technical stuff, but he knows what pays the bills. He writes hits, he writes pop. That's pop metal. That's his thing. That's what he's best at. That's what he does. I would absolutely rather be Cece Deville with all that he's achieved than be Joe Satriani, who's a much better player. I'm sorry. I'd rather be in that position. He's laughing all the way to the bank.
I don't know that anybody, Trevor Burson, ever said AC/DC wouldn't get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I think AC/DC is a flawless rock and roll band.
I was just asking about Australian bands. They deserve it.
Yeah, Australian bands that wouldn't get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Angels wouldn't get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Rose Tattoo would never get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're just not big enough. They're not big. I love those bands, but they're not fucking Hall of Fame. But AC/DC is a flawless, unassailable band. The worst AC/DC song is still better than the best thing Godsmack, Disturbed, and Slipknot will ever write combined. AC/DC are fucking perfect. Perfect. Even their bad albums are perfect. It's just something about them. The undeniable are undeniable, and AC/DC is beyond undeniable.
I mean, they're legendary level. I mean, top 5 easy.
They are as a hard rock band. They may be the greatest pure hard rock band of all time, They are up there with
They're
Led
up
Zeppelin.
there.
They're right next to Led Zeppelin. They're right next to Van Halen. Led Zeppelin, AC/DC,
Sabbath.
Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Van Halen, Aerosmith, 4 greatest hard rock bands of all time.
Sabbath.
You could argue it. You could argue Sabbath is metal. You could argue it, but you'd be wrong. Those are the 4 greatest hard rock bands of all time.
But
Undeniable.
in what order? In what order?
Led Zeppelin.
Johnny's fishing here.
Led Zeppelin, AC/DC, Aerosmith, Van Halen. And I'll tell you why. Led Zeppelin stayed together their entire career. AC/DC had that lineup change because somebody died. Van Halen and Aerosmith broke up and had lineup instability. And so I put Led Zeppelin at number 1, AC/DC at number 2, Aerosmith at number 3, and Van Halen at number 4. Because Van Halen failed twice.
Well, Gary Sharon.
Yeah, and then they came back with the that fucking a different kind of truth record outside of us. Nobody cared. And they shut it down. They shut it down at the right time. I love the band.
For somebody that wants to leave my Van Halen group, you're saying a lot of stuff that
Johnny's getting you out of there right now.
No, you know what, Johnny?
Ejecting you.
No, Johnny wants me to go in there and start throwing some of those grenades in there because it'll get some activity on his fucking group. That's what he wants. But when it's all said and done, Led Zeppelin and AC/DC, I mean, the only reason why AC/DC had to make that lineup change is because they had to make that lineup change. And Aerosmith, when they broke up and went through the Rick Dufay, Jimmy Crespo. Now, all of that said, Aerosmith is the greatest comeback story in the history of hard rock. Aerosmith's second career was bigger than their first career.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's
I'll give you
ridiculous.
that.
Mhm. And you know who had a big part in that?
Oh, was it one of your ex-roommates?
Desmond Child and Diane Warren.
Yep.
I got it today, John.
Yeah.
Yep.
There it is.
Desmond
Child.
But
Desmond used
Desmond
to
also
he used to call Diane, and they'd be talking on the phone all the time.
Yep. Those guys, Desmond Child and Diane Warren and Michael Bolton, did some amazing shit for a lot of the biggest hair bands you've ever heard. They wrote a lot of stuff for Kiss. They wrote a lot of stuff for Bon Jovi. They wrote a lot of those bands that you don't know about that were ghostwritten, those songs that were ghostwritten by other people. Bon Jovi doesn't get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame without Desmond Child.
Yeah, great. I mean, those two albums.
And by the way, Desmond Child not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. One of the greatest songwriters in the history of popular music, not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, Johnny's stumping for him, so Johnny's writing them every day.
I'm voting for him.
Me.
Yeah.
It's me.
Anthony Whiteman, you're incorrect. VH is not better than Aerosmith. Their catalog does not blow Aerosmith's away. It just doesn't. I like it more, but Aerosmith is a bigger band.
And Crap Guitar Show. Steve Stevens is a great guitarist, and I give you that he's lower on the totem pole. But Cece basically gets slammed. He's more recognizable than Steve Stevens, but I mean he just gets slammed. And it's about the makeup. It's about the image. You know, if he came out in, Guns N' Roses kind of sleaze or Metallica hard edge or, just plain clothes like Tesla, he would get that respect. I believe he would. I really do.
Yeah, I think Steve Stevens is sort of in that same area with guys like Billy Duffy.
Richie Sambora, maybe.
Billy Duffy, Richie Sambora.
Mick Mars.
Yeah, there is just some guys who are great guitar players who they just don't stand out in the crowd to the masses. But speaking of chemistry, Billy Idol without Steve Stevens is not the same. Just like Aerosmith without Joe Perry is not the same. There's something, and just like Bon Jovi without Richie Sambora is not the same.
Well, we've had that chemistry conversation.
Yeah, it's chemistry can't be created. It's either there or it's not.
Yeah, for sure.
The best hard rock album of all time, CK, is Back in Black. That's indisputable. The best hard rock album is Back in Black, followed by Appetite for Destruction, followed by Van Halen 1.
Followed by Jay-Z.
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know about that one. Just looking through the chat here.
Yeah. I can do that.
I'm not a
Talking to Deville.
I'm not a massive Cece Deville fan.
I am.
But you got to recognize it. Yeah, Christopher Soa, Zodiac Mind Warp is a fucking awesome band. Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction is where Rob Zombie stole his entire fucking act. He stole his entire character from Zodiac Mind Warp. Zodiac Mind Warp and the Love Reaction were a fucking awesome band. I have both Tattooed Beat Messiah and the extended release of Tattooed Beat Messiah. Fucking awesome band. In fact, I was going to interview Zodiac Mind Warp when I got my Guns N' Roses pass in 1988 and got a chance to drink with Axl and Slash and Duff before they were actually huge stars. There you go, Johnny. Pick that one up.
Wow.
You can't even lift that one. You can't even lift that.
I was juggling 3 of them and just threw them at you.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Zodiac Mind Warp was cool.
Johnny's getting more names thrown at him than dollars by by False Flag. Let's touch on. We're gonna jump back to where I was going. So Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy has written what he feels are 13. They've narrowed down 13 to 14 really, really strong songs. And here's the thing: we were talking about Ozzy. Ozzy, again, he's fighting Parkinson's. He's got Sharon whining in his ear about everything under the sun. And
I believe he also has emphysema, but they're not talking about it. But that's I think it's part of I think COPD or emphysema, something. It's part of the Parkinson's thing.
The thing about Parkinson's, I mean, it numbs in a lot of cases. It numbs your throats. It numbs your eye muscles.
Well, it's your central nervous system. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hitting all those areas. I don't even want to get into it, but yeah. I mean, obviously, it affects everything: your vocal cords, your breathing, and that's for a singer, that's a big deal. But look, the thing that makes
your vocal cords are important to a singer.
Well, you could fart your way through lyrics, but I mean, you really got to be talented there. I think
only if you're
Steven
Vince
Tyler
Neil
could do it. I think only Steven Tyler could actually do it well. The thing that I do like about this, and again, I'm always happy when Ozzy comes out with product. I mean, obviously.
Look, the last Ordinary Man is a great fucking Ozzy Osbourne.
It really is. It really is.
Surprisingly good. I didn't expect anything from it, and I was like, wow, it's really good.
Yeah, and it's really a mixed bag of different guests and stuff, and some you expect like Duff McKagan, and some you don't, like what's the kid with the tattoos on his face?
John Beale.
No, not John Beale, someone else. Post Malone. Post Malone.
Yeah.
Post Malone.
Which, by the way, is it's still a good song.
Very talented, just a different genre. So you don't see it working until you hear it.
Well, the last time he tried this was the Down to Earth record, and it ate shit. That was the one that the first time they tried to kick Zach out of the band, and the only song on it that was any good was called That I Ever Had, and that's the one Zach played on. The rest of it was a dog shit record.
And thank you, Majestic PB&J and Sandra Picorni. Yeah, Post Malone. Thank you. The thing is, the album, like you said, was in a really good, surprisingly good quality. And he's got the same producer working with him on this album. And again, tons of surprise guests. He won't announce them. He won't talk about them. But he said, just like the last album, faces you won't expect. Some you'll be like, oh, of course you'll want to play on Ozzy's album. And some that you're like, really? You collaborated with that person? So the thing about it is, and this is where I'm going with this, I love seeing Ozzy happy, because through all the shit he's going through with his health and this going on with Sharon and all the drama and what he's doing during the pandemic, this is what makes him happy. He's a creative person. He says nothing makes me as happy as creating music, as going into that booth and laying down tracks and sitting at the desk and writing lyrics. This is his element. This is what he loves to do. And I'm so happy seeing that Ozzy right now gets to still do in his 70s what he loves to do and is just fucking great at it.
Well, I think that there's something to be said for allowing him to rest between records instead of going out on tour. I think the road is grueling. I think anybody that's ever been out on the road in a band or in a tour bus with a band will tell you it's exhausting. And I think that Ozzy you can't do what he used to do. You just can't do in your 70s what you did in your 40s or 50s or even in your 30s or 20s, obviously. So Ozzy being able to sit at home, rest, recuperate, and go in and record at his own pace is beautiful, because he could do what, guys like Steely Dan did and just become a studio artist, put out a record every 2 or 3 years, never have to tour around it. Because I don't really care if Ozzy goes out on tour again. I've seen him enough times.
Well, he is.
No, he won't.
No. He's saying that he's going to do the No More Tears 2 tour when the world clears up. Now, I don't know if he will actually do it, but he'd like to do it.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
I hope it does. I mean, yes and no. I mean, I don't want his health to suffer, and I don't think he's going to do like a full, catalog of tour the way he used to. But I think like he'll probably pick something like 10 dates, and he'll probably spread himself a little there, and
I think
come out.
You're right, Mr. Hellstrom. I think all you need to do is put a camera in front of Ozzy for 10 minutes and watch him sit in that chair. If you watch that documentary that was on A&E that they did about him a little while ago, he's exhausted. It's harder to create like Cece than do gymnastics. I don't know what your point is there, False Flag. I don't understand your point.
CCC.
But you're right, False Flag, because you paid for the right to be right. Screw you, Paul. Screw you. Remember, False Flag pays the bills. You gotta give him the due. Give him the due.
But the point being, if you listen to Ozzy speak now and you see him on camera now, you see a very old man who is suffering from some very physical disabilities right now. He's tired. He's slow. He's not. I don't believe he's physically capable of going out and playing a show, much less a tour. I really don't think Ozzy can do an entire 2-hour show right now. He recorded. You remember the video that he did for Ordinary Man? He did it sitting down because he couldn't get up.
Jeff T brings up a good point. If Sharon yapped in your ear day and night,
yes,
you would be exhausted too, and you'd want to go on tour. Oh, I got to get away from this woman. Ozzy,
agreed.
Oh God.
No, I think he's done. I think, and we've talked about this before. I'm not mad about it. I'm not sad about it. I am mad about the way the stadium tour is fucking the fans, and how if you have tickets to the stadium tour, get a refund.
They're not giving them.
They're not giving them. You're being fucked out of your money. That money is sitting in a bank account and has been for 2 years now, and it's going to sit in there for another year. And the tour promoters and the organizers are going to cash fucking profit checks for a tour that never happens. It's bullshit. It's a fucking pyramid scheme. It's a grift. You're being fucked right now by the stadium tour.
I think the tour will likely happen in 2022. I think, but the point is, to your point, if it doesn't happen, you're right. The promoters are making all this money.
They are now. They've already made money.
Yeah, there is a lot, and look, and crew are getting fucked. I don't mean Motley Crue. I mean crew, like lighting guys, gaffers.
Yes, all these people that planned their lives around that tour have had
and are in holding pattern. And
they're not getting a salary.
Yeah,
that tour, those people should be fucking paid. What they're doing is they're hoping that Mick gets sick or somebody bails out and they can cash in the insurance policy on that fucking tour. So not only do they make the money on the interest.
Is that the truth?
Absolutely.
I think it's very possible. I mean, look, who knows? But
that tour, they when you put together a stadium tour like that or a big tour like that, there's an insurance policy in case of disaster, death of a band member,
act of God.
Yeah, I mean, there's always an insurance policy in case shit goes wrong. And it's like anything else. It's like there's an insurance policy every time you see one of those guys try to shoot a hockey puck into a tiny little hole at in between periods at a hockey game. That's an insurance policy.
Sounds like my sex life.
Yeah, they don't have $50,000 they're just going to give any. It's you pay $1,000 And in the unlikely event that somebody actually scores it, it's a gamble. It's like any other lottery ticket. And that's what the fucking promoters are doing. They're hoping Mick Mars gets sick, or the guys in Def Leppard decide not to do it anymore. Maybe Vivian Campbell gets his cancer back. Again, I'm not wishing that, but I'm saying these tour guys are sitting back saying to themselves, hey, man, we're already making money off this thing. If it doesn't come out, we get the insurance policy money to pay back the people to give the refunds for the tickets, and they still get to keep the deposit money. It's bullshit. It's a bullshit scam.
I've seen on Facebook post after post after post of just screenshots of you know, we don't offer refunds. The show is not canceled. It's rescheduled.
And the longer they hold on to your money, the more
interest
money they're making. They're making interest because it's in accounts. So they're going to be able, and then when it comes down to it, when Mick Mars or some other band decides to jump off the tour, I think Joan Jett is already playing shows this summer. So why the fuck would I pay to go see Joan Jett again if I'm going to see the same 12 songs that I'm going to see this summer, next summer? I don't give a shit. And Poison will eventually do it too.
You guys said nobody was going to that to see her anyway.
I don't think Poison's leaving. I think that's the biggest option for Poison, really.
Maybe.
Def Leppard's another story. Def Leppard's all behind it getting rescheduled, but they're behind it being rescheduled. They were talking to them recently, and they were saying, look, the fact is, for health reasons, for everyone's health reasons, I'd rather see it rescheduled, because what's going to happen is if we try to go through with it now, it's going to be patchwork. Different states have different laws, different restrictions, different capacities on the stadiums. It's going to be havoc. So
I'm going to let the dogs out. I'll be right back. Sorry. Finish your thought.
Out. Yeah. So, I mean, but that's the bottom line. They'd rather do it full on and see the stadium tour go through, in the order that's supposed to be, with all the bands and all the locations at full stadiums, rather than a patchwork of, well, this state we have 1/3 capacity ability. This state we have to skip. This state we can only do 2 out of 4 shows. And then the havoc that will go on with how do you select who is getting their tickets and who isn't, due to capacity laws. So that's the thing. Def Leppard is behind it, but I know the fans are pissed because, again, the fact is a lot of people would rather have their money right now in their hand than another year. This is, going on 2 years now of delays that they can't have their money or see their show. And it's not that they wouldn't buy the ticket back possibly, but the fact is, they could use their money. A lot of people could use their money right now. In the house, ladies and gentlemen, Caleb Rappaport of Nerd Halen.
Nerd.
Nerds. Johnny's like doing ogre. Nerds. No, but that's the thing with the stadium tour. It sucks because it really is fucking unfair. Bon Jovi made a big deal about, hey, everyone should get their money back from our tours right away. People need money. People, can always buy back tickets. We're going to get your money fast. And they did. And kudos to the Bon Jovi camp. But as far as Live Nation goes with the stadium tour, holy shit. I mean, really, another fucking year without your money. I'm not saying they were wrong to postpone the tour, but give people their money back. Let them decide at this point, 2 years later, if they want to see the show, if they want a different seat, if they lost their job during the pandemic, if they could use the money instead. Give them the option to get their damn money back. It's not right. It's just not fucking right to keep people's money. Michael, the Captain Smith. Geez, this is like Saturday Night Live. We got the full house in the chat.
Hey, Michael.
Yeah, so there you go. There's the stadium tour. And, as far as Ozzy touring, he's saying that he's going to, he's saying he's going to go back on tour during the No More Tours too. I hope if he does, it'll be short and it'll be safe for him, because that's really the big thing. It's got to be short and it's got to be safe because, the fact is his health isn't what it is. I'm surprised he wants to tour at all, even a bit. And I'm sure, I'm sure even if he plans it, it'll be short. So, we'll see about that. But meanwhile, you got the Monsters of Rock cruise and other cruises going through. And we talked last week about the fucking lineup on Monsters of Rock cruise. Holy shit. Everybody and their mother is playing on that show, on that 7 days, I think, on that cruise.
Wow.
And there are other cruises coming out, but I mean everything from like the classic bands to like the hotter new metal bands, all the the guys on Frontiers like Heat and Crazy Licks and bands like that. But I mean, good God, talk about a seriously great lineup. If you're fiending to go see the stadium tour and now that you have another year of waiting, I really think that you should look into some of these cruises, because the Monster of Rock cruise, wow, what a lineup. And there's others. There's a couple others. I know there's one on Carnival. I forget what they call them, but just Google, metal band or rock and roll band cruises, and you'll see some of them are really big. Oh, Nerd Halen, I'd love to see you on there, Caleb. You should absolutely be on there. You'd be great on there. Trevor Burnson says, not getting your money back when they cancel a show is just wrong. What happens if the person passes away? Where does the money go? Well, listen, if the ticket holder passes away, I have no idea how that works. I don't know if there's a refund in that case. Do you have to present a death certificate? Does it get that detailed and morbid?
I'm sure that's already happened.
I'm sure it has. In 2 years, I'm sure a percentage of people that own stadium tour tickets, especially during a deadly pandemic, I'm sure a percentage of them did not survive this. So, but who knows? I'm sure your loved ones, my dad was the greatest. I miss my dad. Dad died of COVID. And wait, did he have a stadium tour ticket? I gotta look at his stuff. Yeah, I'm sure it's not like priority on your mind to wonder if like your friend or relative had a ticket to the show and what to do about it. So, probably just a lot of unclaimed seats and stuff. Well,
are we still here?
We are still here. I mean, I see the stream going, right?
Okay. All right, because I just saw a.
Are we? You guys in the chat, you still see us, right, on YouTube? For those watching on YouTube, because again, StreamYard is a little wishy-washy on YouTube today.
Yeah.
I mean, the chat's still coming in.
Okay. Yeah. We're still here, you guys? Yeah, I just got an error on my playback.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Everyone says we're still on. Thank you. If we're still on, leave a thumbs up. If not, leave a thumbs up. There you go.
Wait a minute. Is that true?
Captain says we got kicked off for a minute.
Mine went down on YouTube.
Or someone got kicked off.
Pat says.
Yeah, Sandra. Well, like we said at the beginning of the show, the stream today is acting up on YouTube. You probably don't see that on Facebook today, but we're getting StreamYard's giving us weird errors. That's why we did all our promotions. That's why we did all our early promotions early on in the show today.
Yeah, I mean that's how it should be. But
yeah, I noticed we suddenly lost half our viewership, and it's not because the normal reason that the show sucks.
I know we just dropped 20 people.
Yeah, no, I did notice that we did have a drop like suddenly.
Well, I see it. I totally see it because I'm looking at I have the real time graph.
Yeah, we lost half our audience.
And
was it everything I said?
No, not just because normal quality problems of the show.
Because after you walked out of the room, everybody split.
That will
everyone's
happen.
Like, even my mother's like, I don't want to watch this. It's another disappointing show.
Well, now I have to use the bathroom.
No, yeah. Well, there you go. Thanks for sharing.
Huh? David Scher says he's lost us 3 times tonight.
A couple of people in the chat were saying that they've lost us a few times.
As in the YouTube video gets the circle?
Yeah, Bozique, the ratings couldn't get any lower. Our ratings are already even the lawsuits that we get from Spotify
and Bang
and iHeartRadio, Bang Energy Drink, the cease and desist orders, our lawyers are going crazy.
Michael Smith says his feed keeps dropping.
A bunch of people. Hey, Soups Rapes Me says the same thing. Videos try to buffer and keeps cutting out.
Nerd Halen is kicking out channel members.
Well, then why don't we?
What the hell?
Well, then why don't we show the guitar and call it?
Man, look at this. They're dropping, man.
Dropping like flies. Jesus Christ.
Show the guitar and call it.
Look at that. Even my own mother's like, I can't even see it, but I'm kind of glad.
Oh man, yeah, it's dropping.
Dropping.
All right. Well, rather than talk about it's dropping, let's finish the show.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's do the show and tell guitar, and I'll bang out a couple of quick news stories to round the hour out. So let's see. For those that did not have YouTube fucked or watching it on a rerun tonight, the clue I gave tonight is it's not a strawberry, it's not a blueberry, it's not a snozberry or a dingleberry, but it is a berry. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's show and tell guitar is... It's boysenberry. Look at that thing. Oh boy. Even Johnny, if you don't get a battery, I'm gonna kill you. Look at that. That's Johnny's reminder. There you go. This is right now. It sounds like my toilet's overflowing and hitting the floor.
Sounds like the bathroom at Barnes and Nobles.
Yeah, it sounds like the urinal hitting the floor. Today's show and tell guitar, it is a boysenberry. We only have a certain amount of people in the chat.
You know that's not me because my thing is.
I know, because yours doesn't work. I feel like I'm at the Colonel's factory. I feel like I'm at the Colonel's popcorn factory.
Sorry, not sorry.
There we go. There we go. Anyway, so it is a boysenberry colored mockingbird, very rare color. Check that out. This is a 1984 BC Rich Mockingbird, handmade Mockingbird. This is one of the neck through models during BC Rich's golden era.
It's funny. I was going to guess it was a BC Rich when I saw the guitar case, because Mockingbirds and Explorers come in guitar cases that are a little bit bigger.
And G&G.
G&G cases as well, because they're a little bit bigger and a little bit wider, and they're way better quality. G&G cases are awesome. Oh,
they're great. They're great. Yeah. And for a while they came with BC Rich. I mean, Bernie Rico, had a deal obviously with them early on. Johnny, do you get a thumbnail? You get a good thumbnail?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got
thumbnail. Cool. Thumbnail. It's the one with the horn up my nostril.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, because Johnny, Anyway, check this puppy out. This is beautiful boysenberry purple color. Thank you. These, as I've said before, are hand carved. And just look at the carvings on that. The neck access, really, really nice. This is a long horn, because they made long and short. You can tell by that. Let's see. We got the later tuners they used. They used them intermittently in 84, returned to them in 86.
Oh, Shallers?
Mainly USA. They're
look like Shaller knockoffs.
I think they were made by Shallers, if I remember. I know this is
like
the
Shaller
shape.
third party.
I know this is the shape that they used back then for a time. Usually they would use the bullseyes with the stair steps on them, and those are, you know, a little harder to find, but they were also expensive. When Bernie ran out of those, he's like, okay, who's going to give me a deal on tuners? And,
yeah, the
you know,
housing on those looks like the Schaller housing.
yeah, I mean, you can look at them. There we go. And I can tell this is a hand-carved Neil Moser nut
Giggity.
by the great Neil Moser. Giggity. And this is unusual for the BC Riches, for the handmaids. Someone custom ordered this one to be dots. Now, normally, BC Rich, you had either diamonds or you had clouds. Did we go out?
We're definitely not on YouTube.
I think our YouTube stream went out.
Yeah, it did.
All right, so we're still on Facebook. Yeah, we're still on Facebook. Let's see. Can we get back?
YouTube is fucked.
It shut off.
I'm glad I got the sponsors.
It's right now. I've got the circle of death.
I've got the circle of death too on YouTube. If you're watching us on Facebook, we're still live, but YouTube, we seem to have taken a shit. And now we're back. I'm seeing us back on YouTube now. Are you?
Yeah, no.
Uh,
No, it's a spinning circle for me.
Yeah,
Really?
Yep, now it's back briefly.
I'm back on. Or
Hello, Facebook.
Now I'm back on. Now I'm back on the circle.
All right. Well,
Hello, Facebook.
You must be the USA. We're
There we
Spinal
go.
Tap from the UK.
And now I'm seeing us back on.
All right. Well, we'll see how it works out.
All
Just
right, look, the show
finish
must
up
go
the
on.
guitar, and
Sure.
no, it doesn't have to.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Okay, so let's see. We got a Kaler quad bridge, which is that heavy brass bridge. This one has an X2N, which was added later on by the past owner. And then you have a DiMarzio PAF in the neck position. I love the X2N, by the way. I love a really high gain pickup like that. And in the Mockingbird, it just screams. I should also note this particular Mockingbird, because they were hand carved, some of them are a little thicker or thinner than the others. This is probably the thickest body Mockingbird that I own. Look at how thick the body is on that. A little thicker than your standard Mockingbird. And again, it gives a great tone on it because, again, you know, more wood equals tone usually. So says Les Paul. But it's really interesting to see one this thick. It might have even been custom ordered to be a little thicker than the standard body style because it does feel it's not heavy.
They might have wanted that body to be a little bit thicker to strengthen the neck joint.
No, the neck. I mean, again, it's all one piece. This is all one neck through piece that they hand carve. But
yeah, but you still don't want to deal with the crack though. So the way that thing is dug away, you want to have as much meat on that thing as you can at that joint. That still could snap.
I mean, I've never seen one of these snap. Right. I mean, these things are so rock solid. I think just the variances, because I have seen a lot of carving variances. I mean, you're talking guys with knives that they made by hand sitting in the back of a wood shop doing this. There was no machines. There was nothing. And I think it's just one of those variants, but it could have been custom ordered to be this thick as well. The tone is great on it. The neck is a nice thick D shape, which I've come to love in the BCs. And again, you have the standard Neil Moser electronics package, which you have the Veritone switch, volume, tone, boosters, coil splitters, phase. I mean, the whole NASA space shuttle, all in one beautiful guitar. And, again, these handmaids were made pretty much up through 86. And then they started getting more into Strat production. And then if you wanted something like this, it was very rare that they would build and order something like that. For Janice, who missed the whole thing, and a lot of people I know missed the whole thing, 84 BC Rich Mockingbird.
Guess you have to watch the replay.
In Boysenberry. I don't even know if the replay has it. Or I guess it would, right, Johnny?
Yeah.
Would the replay have the whole content?
Yeah, any spinning circles that doesn't get burned into the video. The replay will be
will be whole. The replay will be whole because it's through StreamYard. Okay. So if you missed something, go through the replay. But what we're on, Guitar of the Week, Show and Tell Guitar of the Week, 1984, BC Rich Mockingbird and Boysenberry, X2N on the Bridge pickup, which was a later replacement, Kayla Quad Bridge, heavy brass quad bridge, DiMarzio PAF at the neck. This particular one, rare dot inlays on rosewood. Usually you had either clouds if they ordered that, or if they ordered Supreme, or if you ordered the deluxe, you got diamonds. Very, very rare to see custom dots, which again, someone must have ordered. Thick, heavy body, Longhorn, rosewood cap. And again, just a great guitar. I love these things. Again, I always talk about them. I love that they're handmade and they feel handmade. The quality of old BC Riches is so underappreciated. If you haven't picked one up, if you've never played one, see if you can. Be it a Mockingbird, a Bitch, an Eagle, a Warlock. These old handmade neck throughs are so underappreciated. They don't make them like this anymore. And, again, you just can't beat these things. So there you go. There is today's Show and Tell Guitar. A little hit and run for those of you that are having YouTube problems today, which I apologize for. Not our fault. But there you go. Today's Show and Tell Guitar. 84 BC Rich Mockingbird in Boysenberry. Now there's no applause. There we go. That's good. That's good. Let's see. We touched on rock and roll. We beat to death the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame stadium tour. Ozzy Osbourne. Let's kick out a couple other things to round it out. Let's see. Frank Bello of Anthrax has written a memoir called Fathers, Brothers, and Sons: Surviving Anguish, Abandonment, and Anthrax, with a foreword by, guess who, Paulie?
John Biel.
No, not John Biel.
Forward by Eddie Trunk.
No. Guess again.
For Frank Bello? I don't know. Charlie?
No. I'll give you a hint. He charged him money, but it wasn't much.
Vinny.
Gene fucking Simmons.
And how much do you think he charged?
A nominal fee.
That's right.
It's funny because I interviewed Gene in 1988, and in the interview, if you guys know who Michael Brandvold is, he used to run a website called Kiss Otaku, and that interview is transcribed up there. And in the interview, Gene mentions the fact that Anthrax just covered Parasite. So this is right around the time that Attack of the Killer Bees came out, in 1988, 89.
Mm-hmm.
And Gene says, and I quote, Anthrax just covered one of our songs. Make no mistake, I hate that band. But what I do love is the energy. I was like, yeah, you hate them.
And the residual check.
Yeah, and 30-something years later, you're writing the foreword for Charlie's book.
Because he got paid.
Or Frank's book, sorry. A nominal fee.
That's right.
But I did it for the fans and a nominal fee.
And Frank's had a very interesting life. Frank was raised by a single mother with a number of siblings. Father abandoned him. And he was helping the mother support his siblings since he was in the late teens working for Anthrax, first as a roadie, and then eventually wound up, growing into being in the band itself. And then later on in I think it was the 90s, his brother Anthony got killed and the murderer got set free. So there was a whole thing with that. And now he's got kids of his own. And he talks about, his whole life, as well as plenty of stories about Anthrax and life on the road and touring and recording. So it sounds like a very, very cool book. I love autobiographies and biographies, and I could read them all day, just all day. So that comes out October 12th. That's fun. Lollapalooza is back on. We were talking about concert tours. Well, while stadium tour is postponed, Lollapalooza is going to go through July 29th through August 1st in Chicago. Thoughts on that, Paulie?
It's not a tour. It's 2 shows in a central location in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So that works out nice for everybody.
I should say Lollapalooza festival, not tour. I'm
Right, exactly. It's not
correct.
a tour. It's a festival show.
Right.
It makes it easier to pull off because they only have to be in one area and people come to them.
Yeah. So that is back on. That's obviously a huge event. Let's see. Speaking of tours, and this one's right up your alley, Alice Cooper and Ace Frehley are doing a what sounds like a great tour starting September 17th in Atlantic City.
Go. I see that. Go.
What's going on?
His dog has used the bathroom.
Oh, geez. Go. Let's see. Alice Cooper and Ace Frehley.
I don't need the bathroom. I'm watching Lemmy right now, and she's
shitting on the couch.
Well, no, it's weird because she's arthritic, so when the tail goes up, I don't know if she's having a hard time moving or if it's time. And
that's what Howie used to. That's what Howie did later on. Every time the tail would start shaking and go up, you got to run them out.
Yep, and that's where I'm going. So goodbye.
Good night, Paulie. The great Neanderthal, everybody. Let's see. Going back on. So Alice Cooper, Ace Frehley, their tour starts. That's a great combo. Just keep in mind they've played together for so many times, so many tours over so many years. They're great friends. They have great chemistry. And Ace is going to be a special guest for those tour dates. September 17th, Atlantic City through October 23rd in Atlanta, Georgia. So I think that's going to be a great one. Let's see. In the department of things to buy, other than Frank Bellows' Anthrax memoir and Colonel's Gourmet Popcorn and Jay Hannon's new Gizmochi album, there is Motley Crue's 40th anniversary remaster of Girls, Girls, Girls. June 11th, Motley Crue will release the 40th anniversary celebration by remastering Girls, Girls, Girls. It'll be released June 11th. And that's, one of their biggest albums.
But that's not 40 years.
40. Well, no, it's 40 years for the band. They formed in 81. They started jamming in January of 81. So to celebrate it, they said, okay, let's remaster Girls, Girls, Girls.
Mm-hmm.
So Girls, Girls, Girls getting a remaster treatment. That should be fun.
Which is being retitled Grandma's, Grandma's, Grandma's.
Yeah, I know. Now all the strippers that used to dance to Girls, Girls, Girls are now,
Lenny, Lou, and Mary.
Yeah, Mary used to dance to that song, and now she just wheels around to it and pulls them out. And I'm a happy man. Mary, you're watching. You could slap me in the face with those anytime. I'm a happy camper. I love Mary, my geriatric love. So that's Motley Crue news. 40th anniversary, Girls, Girls, Girls. Pretty happy about that because I love that album. And again, I'm hoping it's one of those remaster jobs where they're not remixing things, not moving things around, not changing the feel of the songs, the sound of the songs. They're just improving the quality of the recording. They're cleaning it up a little bit, a little less pop and hiss on the recording. That's fine. But don't do what George Lynch did with Lynch Mob, where it just changed the sound of Wicked Sensation to a totally different thing. So hopefully it'll be good. Looking forward to it. Love Motley Crue, and they're also part of the stadium tour on hold until 2022. So if you need your Crue fix, I'm sure they'll also have some special merch too that you could probably order online. I mean, they have a 40th anniversary logo with the pentagram, Motley Crue pentagram in the 0 of 40. So I'm sure they'll have some cool branded merch. I'll get a shirt like that. And speaking of selling stuff, so Todd LaTorre, singer of Queensryche, is selling on eBay 4 sets of Scott Rockenfield's drumsticks that he used to record the Queensryche self-titled album back in 2013, basically when Queensryche got revamped with Todd after Jeff Tate left the band. Scott Rockenfield, when he used those 4 sets of sticks to record the album, he gave them to Todd. Todd took them and put them in saran wrap, believe it or not. But this is what he's saying. He put them in saran wrap, and now he is selling them on eBay. So if you're a Queensryche fan, I mean, they have the band logo on them, I believe. And they possibly have Scott's name on them. They're worn from being used to record. You know, it's an odd thing that Todd is selling something like that. I don't know why. There has been hints of Scott returning back to the band. He's been out of the band 4 years now. There's a lot of dispute and debate over why Scott is not drumming for Queensryche for the last 4 years. Supposedly on one side, you know, some people are saying, oh, he got fired. And on the other side, there's people saying, oh, well, you know, he actually took a paternity leave and just never came back for 4 years. So I don't know who to believe, but he's dropping hints lately on his Instagram that he's ready to rock again. And that looks like he might be alluding to the fact that he would be coming back to Queensryche. So that's great. I mean, look, I'm a huge Queensryche fan. And if you're watching, my buddy Samantha Steele out there, also a huge Queensryche fan. So that's an interesting thing. So if you want a souvenir, there you go. Go on eBay, look up Scott Rockenfield drumsticks, and own a little piece of Queensryche. That's kind of fun. Awesome. I just don't know why Todd's selling them. I mean, it's just an odd kind of thing. Let's see what else we got going. Gene Simmons of Kiss was being interviewed recently, and he told a real fun story of how he basically helped AC/DC grow into the band they are now. You know, far be it from Gene to hold back on this modest story. I wish Paulie was here to mimic Gene. Well, I'll tell it as Paul. Basically, what Gene said was Gene discovered AC/DC in one of the clubs in LA, and he knew they were going to be big. So Gene did everything he could to take AC/DC out on the road with us, with Kiss for the fans. And 1977 and 78, AC/DC opened for us. So there you go. So I think basically from what Gene was saying, thank you, John. Thank you. Half an applause. Right now, my mother's like, my YouTube's not working at all. No.
People are enjoying the spinning circle more.
Yeah, the spinning circle is more entertaining than the Tuesday night show. What do you do? So anyway, Gene was basically saying that he went to a show. This is back in 77 and or 76 or 77, and he was in a little club in LA where AC/DC was playing. And he sat by the stage and he saw Angus playing, and he was like, oh my God, these guys are great. They need to be successful. I'm going to help them do that. So he basically goes backstage afterwards, and Angus goes, oh, Gene Simmons, that's cool. Hey, nice to meet you and stuff. And he says, you are the real deal. You are the guy. You guys are going to be going on and being fantastic. And, he basically said, let's go out to lunch to discuss things. So Gene took them to Mel's Diner, which is a landmark diner here in LA.
Yeah, we have those here too.
Yeah. Mel's Diners. We have 2 in LA. He took them to the one on the Sunset Strip right by the club. And at the time, Gene was, of course, with Kiss, very well known. So, all the waitresses crowding around the table. And, Mr. Simmons, what can we get? And he says, you can get my friend whatever he wants. And he noticed at that time that that Angus had no front teeth. And he said, he's looking there. He's noticing that Angus had no front teeth. And he said, he ordered a hot dog and beets, and I watched him eat a hot dog and beets that he was chewing in the side of his mouth because he had no front teeth. I guess they weren't successful enough with money at that time to buy him some teeth. But that's basically the way Gene was putting it. He's like, I'm watching him chew on the side of his mouth this hot dog, slip it in the space between his teeth, and start chewing it, and beets. Not normally on the menu. So, but soon after, AC/DC was the opening act of Kiss.
I love Korn.
I'll bet I know certain band members that don't.
I got cornholed recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody can actually see this, YouTube is having major problems right now.
Yeah, we have like 2 watchers now.
There's people saying that they can't see it. Some are here, some aren't. I think we dropped to like 17 viewers.
19. Like suddenly all our audience just dipped. Everyone just dipped. Yeah, leave a thumbs up. Oh, good. We got both thumbs. Good. Thank you. We got the whole audience. Both thumbs. Good. Thank you. Thank you for leaving a thumbs up. So anyway, the long and short of it was thanks to that meeting of Gene and Angus over in 1977 and 78, AC/DC wound up opening for Kiss, and the rest is history. AC/DC went on to become one of the biggest bands in rock music after opening for Kiss during the 77-78 tour. There you go. So awesome. What else we got? And finally, let's bang this out. If you remember, Kurt Cobain's guitar sold for millions of dollars. Well, another auction containing Kurt items went off recently, and one of the most amazing things in the auction was 6 strands of Kurt Cobain's hair. How much do you think it went for, Johnny? 6 strands, little pink, 6 of those. Or at least I hope it was from his head. I don't know. It didn't specify. It just says his hair. It may have been 6 of his pubes.
Oh, I could see that go. Well, depending on how much a real hardcore Nirvana fan actually has.
6 strands of his hair. How much?
I could see that go. Is that true, Michael? You can't see that.
What did Michael say?
I
can't see the YouTube feed.
Oh
no, Michael is absolutely right.
That's it.
Michael Warholic, $14,000. $14,000 for.
I was gonna say $1 million.
Wow. Well, Johnny, that guy should sell to you. You could probably get that for like 20, 30 grand. 6 of Kurt Cobain's hairs went for $14,000. And there's photos of his friend cutting it at the time. This is where the hair came from. Basically, a friend of Kurt's back in the day before they were famous cut his hair, but she apparently knew that they were going to be big, or she felt they were going to be big. So she took photos of his hair getting cut, and kept the photos, kept a lock of his hair that somehow got out to only be six strands, and it went, and it was going on, and
are we gone?
Yeah, that we are off YouTube for most people. Yeah, we're still live on Facebook.
There's 9 watching.
Yeah, went from like 100 and something to 9. I hope those 9 are leaving thumbs up.
All we need is 20 more thumbs. Oh, now it's down to 6.
6 viewers, not 6 thumbs.
Yeah, 6 viewers, and then on Facebook,
and one of them's my mother.
On Facebook, we have 5.
Virginia Woolf says it's not just us. Other streaming channels are out right now too.
Yeah. No, it's not just this. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it was just this because you guys know what this is like. But no, it's not just us. It's YouTube.
No, it's YouTube and StreamYard tonight. Something's going on with them tonight.
Yeah, actually, no. The
So-
StreamYard, that explains what
StreamYard's
the
still
StreamYard
going.
problem
It's
was.
YouTube.
Is that
It's YouTube. Because we're still streaming live for everyone on Facebook. Yeah, Ben Tom says, "Give us the news in the chat." And by the way, Ben Tom, you're very welcome. You're very welcome for talking to our mutual friend, and shout out to him. I made a new friend, a friend of Ben Tom, our friend Corey. Shout out to Corey tonight if you're watching.
Wow.
So very cool. And I think that's it. I got a cool Mama Mancuda story. I'll save it for next week though. Because it's there's just too many technical difficulties on YouTube today. So
Thank you, Charles Green. And hey, Charles, they got the guitar, and they left a message saying for me to call them. That the tech has some questions on it. So
it's questionable.
Probably talk to him tomorrow. Yeah, and so there's nobody watching. I can mention that.
There you go. I'm gonna take off my pants. I figure why not? I'm gonna get undressed. I'm gonna take off my pants, and why not? Because no one's here anyway. Oh, the rerun, but it'll be a shock for the rerun crowd. But anyway, let's call it. We're at the 3-hour mark. Unfortunately, YouTube has screwed up everyone tonight. Not our fault, not StreamYard's fault either, technically, because we're still live on Facebook. And thank you everyone for watching and struggling with all that we have had today. I'll tell our Mama Mancuda story next week. And shout out to my beloved mother. And thank you everyone for again the continued thoughts and prayers for what's going on with my mother's health. Really, really, really appreciate that. Love you all. Appreciate you all. Let's give a thanks to all of our channel members. I'm going to have to squint because my big screen went out. Thank you, YouTube. Let's give a thanks to Hal Face, John Moronic, James Gum, Hillary Lewis, Jim Nicholas, 802 Blues, Mr. BHB Jr., that's Bruce, Frag 5150, Pal Guitars, Dan Halen, Frank Corcoran, Bent Tom, and again, shout out to our buddy Corey, Jeff T, R2R3 Locking Nut, Ferdinand Riley, Robot Master Switch, 6Chick71, Rick Green, the Chad, was it 2 Brain Cells? You wrote it so small, Johnny, I want to shoot you.
2 Brain Cells, Michael B.
Oh, Michael B. Okay. Tom, 2 Brain Cells is so small. Tom, well, they're brain cells, so I guess that makes sense.
There's only 2 of them.
I guess I really should be squinting. Thomas Santiago, Voodoo Child, SJ, that's Sean Johnson, Brian Spalding, Fender Guru, Music Therapy Laz. We pray that Roxy comes home safely. Ghost BC Rich, 5150 TV, Jimmy Ray Hawkins, Hugh Caldwell, Crosby is a dildo fucker. He sure is. Jesus Rapes Me, Randy Price, Laguna Palms, and Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael.
Let's also thank you, channel members. Charles Green, Fruitcake Tony, Michael the Captain Smith, David Ennis, Mike Neese, Richard Poole, Linny Lou, and my geriatric sex kitten, Mary. Rawr. Gargets Entertainment, Kurt 5150, Susan Silvestri, hey Susan, Mickey Settlemeyer, Joe Christian, Nicole Mrazek, Sean Bolland, Wayno, Stephen Franklin, Will Starr, our Habs, KXM Rock, David Shea Gormley, Bozique, Crazy Cook 678, Carol Hatcher, False Flag, Margaret Scranton, Sean Silas, Julia Baldessari, and Jarhead Rock. And thank you again to our many beloved and treasured sponsors, Bang Energy Drink, Vine Custom Pickups, Colonel Gourmet Popping Corn and more, Swiss Picks, FU Tone, and Tessie Switch. Thank you to everyone who supports our show, even when YouTube tonight does not.
We love
So-
you, YouTube, though. We love you. Please come back.
But more importantly, we love our audience. We appreciate our audience. Thank you for putting up with all the technical difficulties on YouTube tonight. Stay safe. We love you. Wear a mask. Get vaccinated so we can all go back to live music. And now only some of you have to wear masks, FYI. But get vaccinated.
All right. Love you all.
Love you all. Appreciate you all. Leave comments in the chat. Leave comments in the video. Leave thumbs up. We reply to comments. And we will see you on Friday. And remember,
Yes.
watch Fruitcake Tony's show this Saturday. Show me your pick number 48. I will be guesting with talking about Queensryche. So check it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. And since we didn't get to play the intro, I'll play the intro and then the outro.
All right. Love you guys.
Have a
And
good night.
girls. Rock on.
And animals.
Animals.
Oh, YouTube is actually talking. Sorry for the inconvenience. To clarify, the issue is still ongoing. We're currently looking into it. We'll follow up once we have an update. Yeah, so this is worldwide. This is happening. It's not just us. All right, goodbye.
Night, everybody. Love you.
You have to unmute your mic. All right, one more time. You gotta unmute again. Every time a new thing comes on, it mutes. Subscribe to the podcast, which will be up later tonight. And thank you to the Captain, Michael Smith, for sending in the screenshot. That's what the show looked like to most people.
That's great. Well, it was more entertaining than normal. David Crosby loved it. He thought this was the best episode ever.
Awesome.
I'd rather not see them. Meh.
All right. And Facebook, thank you so much. See you guys Friday.
Love
Bye.
y'all. Bye.